Hello and welcome to On The Esky, a podcast where we like to confuse the Commonwealth Games for the Olympics. In today's
one of us does.
In today's show, we're going to take a look at the recent matches in the cricket. Going to preview round 19 in the NRL and AFL, get stuck into the results, well, the result coming out of the NBA, and then we've got some news coming up from the NFL, UFC, and of course the Olympics a day away. On my lefts, I've got both the boys, Peps and Monks are back.
Yo, yo.
Hey, how's your couple of days been? Because it's only been 3 days, 2 podcasts in 1 week.
Quick turnaround.
Short turnaround. Yeah, we might be able to nut this one out in under 3 hours, I'd reckon, tonight.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yeah, you're used to nutting them out quick. So
3 hours, that's about 100 of them. Anyways.
Start strong.
Yeah, we're good down here.
very good. Yeah.
Who wants to shout a beer first? I'll go first.
You go first. Go for it.
I was going to say, boys, revenge is a dish best served cold. And here's a nice cold beverage for Frank the Tank Kaminsky. He's just won an NBA ring with the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll have a deep dive into that coming up shortly. He had an ongoing knee injury last year in the bubble. I think some kind of stress fracture in his patella. And he got shafted by the Phoenix Suns. Mm-hmm. Picked up this year by the Bucks. I think he had a little stint, I think, at the Sacramento Kings, but he didn't get a contract. And then the Bucks said, we'll use you as an impact player off the bench, the big 7-footer. He actually played a few minutes in the finals against his old team, and now he has a championship ring. So good on him for sticking it out. And, a little bit bittersweet year for him, getting cut less than 12 months ago in the bubble, and now he's an NBA champ. On you, Frank the Tank. Shout out to Will Ferrell as well. We're going streaking in the quad. Frank the Tank, good on you. Enjoy.
Monks?
Yep. So this week I'm going to shout a beer to the 6 Polish swimmers who have to return home. Not because of the dreaded COVID or because they're being kicked out of the Olympics for, say, banned substance or anything like that.
Yeah, like cocaine for a certain horse rider, but we'll keep going.
Can we confirm that was the horse rider and not the horse?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. I know in the racing industry it has been known to give them some kind of stimulants, but I can't imagine that's too good in the dressage.
No, not at all.
Stop fucking peeking, horse. What's some weird trotting to do?
That's it.
Sorry, continue.
I'm interested in the story now. So they got sent home because the Polish Swimming Federation, the PZP, could not understand or did not understand the FINA qualifying rules and sent 6 players more than what they're allowed.
Yeah. So it's a Mulitalo times 6.
Something like that, yeah. Couldn't figure out the eligibility rules and very unfortunate. I mean, imagine all the training they've put into, most notably Alicia Chores, who's probably leading a lot of the social media outrage around this. This is her was going to be a third Olympics, so she competes in the 100-meter backstroke as a specialty, so not too sure if...
On the way home.
Yeah.
Well, I can speak from experience. The beers are dirt cheap in Poland, so you might be able to shout them a 6-pack for one each. Yeah.
That's it.
It'll cost you about 50 Australian cents.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, that sucks. That's, we spoke about the shit show in the bumhole NRL league that we have here, not being able to sort out paperwork, and for it to all come to fruition in the last,
5 years worth of work.
5 years worth of work, and it all goes 3 days out before you
due to an accounting error where they don't know what the difference between 15 and 25% is.
Damn accountants.
I would say it's an accounting error. There's no money involved with this. No, but yeah, you got to feel for them.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
I think they're all trying to sign a petition to get the head boss and essentially the federation to a whole bunch of guys sacked, heads of a roll.
Yeah, they want the whole board of the Swimming Federation to resign.
Well, the good news is because of Coco, it's only 3 years till the next Olympics, not 4. So
true.
Maybe a few of them will be back.
Yeah,
maybe.
My shout out beer. I'm going to shout out the F1 teams. We talked a little bit about Lewis Hamilton and the kind of result in the race and what had happened. But the online trials, of course, got stuck into him, and not in a nice way. And a lot of the F1 teams came out in support, as they do, for their process they're kind of going to try and stamp out racism as much as they possibly can as being in the front of that. So big shout out beer to all the F1 teams for doing that.
Beautiful.
Definitely.
Right, let's get stuck into the cricket, and why wouldn't we talk about it? Because we're top of the world. We've won one ODI.
We finally won a game.
We beat the West Indies.
Back, baby.
We're back, baby. Don't call it a comeback. We never left. So game one of the ODI series happened yesterday in Barbados. Alex Carey got the nod to become skipper in his first time leading Australia, so good on to him. Former GWS Academy captain, so he had the hard choice to choose footy or cricket. He went with cricket, and it's paid dividends for him. Finch obviously out with that hamstring strain. And then how about this 11 that we went with, okay? Josh Philippi, Ben McDermott opened the batting. Mitch Marsh, he's been in good form. Moses Henriques, Alex Carey, Ashton Turner, Matthew Wade, Mitchell Starc, Adam Zampa, Wes Agar on debut, and Josh Hazlewood. Of our best 11, I think there's probably 4 guys there in an ODI 11. You would pick Hazlewood, you would pick Starc, you'd probably pick Zampa, and on form, Mitch Marsh.
Yep.
So outside of that, it kind of is an Australia B team. Didn't look like one. Australia made 9 for 252. It was 49 over game just due to a little bit of drizzle. Carey had a captain's knock of 67 and 49 from Ashton Turner. Tell you what, though, this Hayden Walsh Jr., we spoke about him 3 days ago. He continues to give us dramas. He had 5 for 39, the West Indian leggy. That's the best ODI figures for a West Indian against Australia in 30 years, if you don't mind.
That's impressive.
Yeah. What wasn't impressive was the West Indies batting showing. We had him about 6 for 27, I believe, at one stage. Mitch Starc got a Evan Lewis with a first ball leading edge, caught and bowled, and then in the second over bowled one of the best nuts he's bowled in a while, a nice in-swinging length ball that just took the top of Jason Mohammed's off bail. That got us off to a flyer, and then Josh Hazlewood was just bowling stump to stump, cramping them all up. Starkey finished with 5 for 48 and Hazlewood 3 for 11 of just 6 overs. The question I want to pose to you boys is, why are we so good at one-dayers and we suck at 2020 cricket when you wouldn't think that there's that much removed between them?
I would say it's the other way around.
We're just better at the slightly longer formats, as in the longer formats.
Our bowlers shone here, right? And I think it might be a double-edged sword here.
Monks, can you get some of the batting numbers? Because I'd be interested to see what guys like Philippi, McDermott, Henriques, and Wade did, considering we're tracking their form a little bit.
Yeah, so I think Philippi and McDermott both got about 30, did they not? 39 for Philippi, 28 for McDermott.
Yeah.
Henriques struggling a little bit.
Wade 3. Ugh.
I think the going back to the question of why do we do well in the ODIs and less so in the 2020s, it might be a double-edged sword here. I think the West Indians are really good at T20 cricket as well.
Well, we were talking about last week. You got Chris Gale that hangs around, a lot of those kind of names.
Yeah.
They live and breathe T20.
That's
It's probably opposites where our guys kind of need maybe the extra overs to get into the game.
Yeah.
Whereas the West Indian guys will come out here and just blast it a little bit.
I think that's what it more is. Obviously, Chris Gale not playing in the ODIs.
Too much running.
But outside of that, that's a very similar team to what we saw with Lewis and Hetmeyer and Pooran.
That Bravo in there?
That's So that's Darren Bravo.
Yeah,
so
not the other one.
They're swapped. Yeah, Bravo for Bravo. But it's, Walsh played in the T20s. Jason Holder played. So there's still 7 or so guys there from that West Indian T20 team coming across the ODIs. But yeah, I think it's more what you're saying there, Sean, is that they're really good at hitting a long ball, but in terms of establishing an innings and staying, and seeing off a swinging ball, possibly they do struggle a little bit. It is also one game. So let's not.
They'll come out and put 400 on Australia, and we'll barely get 200.
That's it. We put the curse on Australia now.
I'm quietly confident. I think we sweep them in the ODIs here. It's just something that's becoming really apparent, and West Indians are known for being excellent T20 cricketers, but we are over in in their home arenas.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that we, after getting pants 4-1 in a T20 series, can come out and then just annihilate them. And to be honest, they're lucky that they made 123 in response.
Pollard scored
It was
over half of it. So.
All off Pollard. If you don't mind scrolling up there, Monks, what do you have?
56.
56, a runner ball 56. You take away him and, geez, they're scheduled for 60.
Yep.
So, and they were... What have we got there? 6 for 27 after 7 overs. This could have been an absolute embarrassment for the West Indies. So good for the Aussies. A good confidence booster after a very lackluster T20 series. And the next few games will happen over the weekend, and we'll cover them next week. On the Esky. Let's go over to the subcontinent. So India is playing Sri Lanka currently in Colombo. We've had 2 of the ODIs go so far. The first game was a very easy affair for the Indians. They cruised to a 7-wicket victory. Sri Lanka made a respectable 262. That was really bolstered by some late hitting from Chamika Karunaratne with 43 not out of 35. No one else did too much there. Shout out to Krunal Pandya. He was the pick of the bowlers, 1 for 26 off 10 there for the Pandya. And the Indian chase was never in doubt. Captain Shikhar Dhawan, 86 not off 95, continuing his stellar form from the IPL, and 59 to the rhyming name Ishan Kishan. It was a closer affair in Game 2. The Sri Lankans batted first again. They made, again, 275. So we were concerned that they were going to get really blitzed here. So they've made a good showing of it.
Under 200. Wouldn't have surprised me. So
yeah, I was really worried that they wouldn't be making 200. So two good scores there. It was Charith Asalanka with 65 off 68, and Avishka Fernando with 50 runs there. Good bowling from Yuzvendra Chahal and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, 3 apiece there. And that the Indian top order really struggled here. Sri Lanka had them on the ropes at 5 for 116. It was Wanindo Hasaranga, 3 for 37. He claimed both of the openers, but it was Deepak Chahar batting number 8, had a gutsy 69 not out to get the Indians home, and a man of the match performance for the fast bowler. He also had 2 wickets with the ball. Game 3 is tomorrow, followed by 3 2020. So interesting that the Sri Lankans have actually been able to stick it to the Indians. I suppose being at home helps, and it also being a bit of an India B side, let's be frank.
Yeah.
That helps.
My question to you was going to be, of this India B side, as we're calling it, is there anyone there starting to make maybe inroads into the India A team that you see that they'll be pushing form-wise to maybe knock someone off? In
a white ball, we say India B because it's no one that's playing Test cricket.
True.
But we look at their side. You've got Prithvi Shaw, you've got Shikhar Dhawan, you've got Ishan Kishan, Manish Pandey. There's no reason why any of those guys can't play white ball cricket for India.
Yep.
Then you've got Surya Kumar Yadav, been excellent in the IPL. And then you've got both Pandya brothers.
Yeah.
You look at this B side, and we're calling it India B. That's not the right term for it. It's the Indian white ball team less a few guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kohli would be there.
Kohli's the big one, of course.
Bumrah would be there.
Would you put Pant in that side?
Yeah, Punt would be in that side. And then outside Jadeja would be there.
So that's 5.
4. That's 4 that I've named. So it's not we're doing them a disservice calling it India B. What we should be calling it is the India white ball cricket team.
Yeah.
Less a few dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and again, that's a fucking strong. That's a strong lineup. So kudos to the Sri Lankans to. Keeping it amicable. We have spoken at length at the demise of Sri Lankan cricket here of late. So, look, they haven't got a win, but they haven't been embarrassed in either of these games. And
they've made them contests, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, for sure. And the Sri Lankan people who have been suffering a fair bit of late, I think their spirits would be bolstered, given these results. So we'll see what happens in Game 3 tomorrow. Maybe the Indians try a few young blokes, considering they've got the ODIs already wrapped up, and then we roll into the T20s, where you'd think Sri Lanka are even more likely to steal a win. Let's go over to England. So our last ep, it was 1 apiece in the T20s between England and Pakistan, and England won the decider in a thriller. Pakistan made 154. It was Muhammad Rizwan who carried them, 76 not out of 54, and Adil Rashid, 4 for 34, was the best of the English bowlers.
What, is this a T20? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
T20. So
I'm trying to work out if they played on landmines or something for the low scores, but no. It was
154, still 7.
Yeah, but
seven
for
seven and a
T20,
bit.
I was thinking ODIs. So I was like, but for T20, that's
You weren't listening last week.
yeah. It was the other way around. I got confused.
That's right. So the ODIs went first, and it was. We talk about B-sides. That really was an England B-side after the COVID took all their starters, and then the England actually just got home with 2 balls remaining in this game. 64 to Jason Roy, survived a middle order collapse to get them over. So they win the ODIs 3-0. And they win the T20s 2-1. Not bad, considering a lot of their guys were unavailable. And a lot of them have been through their quarantine now and are coming back. Were coming back into this side, but a lot of the guys that had come back in won't be playing in the Test series anyway, which starts start of August. So we're getting very close.
Very, very close. I was just going to ask you that question. Yeah, a couple of weeks.
And in other news, Bangladesh swept Zimbabwe in 3 ODIs, if anyone cares about that. Australia maybe should be keeping an eye on Bangladesh because we do play them in 5 T20s coming up. And, it would be really embarrassing if we get done by Bangladesh. But that is over there, so who knows?
Yes. And there could be some rank turners over there.
So, Monks, could you just look up? I think it's August 4th that the first Test match between England and India kicks off, which gives us 2 weeks. What are we thinking there, boys? England at home against an Indian side, which were really, really good in India against them. They did drop 1 test. Let's not forget that.
Yes, and they did lose to the New Zealand, the kind of equivalent in a sort of similar. But the Black Caps are best Test team in cricket at the moment. So,
well, and we sort of
Black Cap Macca definitely would agree with me.
Definitely, and I think it's fair in swinging conditions. The Black Caps do have the best bowling attack in the world, and
Tour India, of course, is going to be a different conversation, but
sure,
something we have to see. Hopefully, not in the too distant future.
Is it 4th of August?
Yeah, 4th of August.
They're at Trent Bridge in Nottingham, so that's.
But I'd have to say, India got to be better. Than England.
You're backing them to win the series?
Oh, I don't know. It is in. You just got to remember it's in England, and it'll
be hooping.
Yeah, it'll.
Kohli's record.
It'll swing more than it will spin.
Sure.
Which is kind of more the favourite for what the Indians want to do. But
Kohli's record in England is horrendous. Plus his form is out. I think England win this series. I'll say it right now.
I'm going to say close series and maybe India sneak it.
Okay. Max?
Actually, no, it's going to be a drawn series because I'll just rain there.
It'll just rain the whole time. Well, I think they had some pretty horrendous weather in the last few days. We're saying they've used up their best weekend of the year, or their only good weekend for the year.
That's it. I really don't know. Have to go England at home.
Yeah.
I think see how the first match goes. And
the thing with England is, when we've spoken about it on the pod before, their bowling is really quite good. But outside of Root and Stokes, they are unproven with the bat.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a massive test for some of their top order guys that haven't made a lot of test runs to really step up and cement themselves as test cricketers. I think that's probably where this series is decided. If the English guys that haven't made runs with the bat, if they can step up and support Joe Root and Ben Stokes, then I think England get home comfortably.
Yeah, agree. That'll finish cricket?
That'll finish cricket. Let's come home for some NRL news. And it's been a shit show this afternoon, Sean. What is happening?
Oh, okay, we'll kick off with the big story. Yes, it's come out. They've announced official that Australia and New Zealand are going to pull out of the World Cup, which is in October.
Yep.
In England.
Late October, I think.
Yes. Citing, of course, player welfare concerns. They're worried about players getting COVID. So that's kind of it, the big news. The 2 of the 3 Tier 1 nations have decided to pull out of the World Cup.
Essentially, the Rugby League World Cup is always a 3-horse race. So you call it a 1-horse race. I suppose the counter argument to that is Tonga and Samoa have been growing in their strength, especially now with the rules sort of favouring tier 2 nations. They can be born here and just play via ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
Run me through, is this just Big Dick Volandis? He's been listening to the Esky. He's been going, oh, geez, Australia would be a nice place. We don't have much COVID virus here. Is he going to try and bring the Rugby League World Cup to Australia in a matter of a few months?
One, there's no lockdowns in England. There is here. So there is a slight difference.
That makes sense.
There's a slight difference.
That makes sense.
We're not going to get... I think this is kind of trying to become more political, and it's obviously money orientated. We talked about Volandis being a businessman, and how do you make more money for NRL and Rugby League in Australia? Let's have the World Cup at the end of the year in Australia. That's going to help our pockets instead of the international league and then, the England side of it. Mm-hmm. And I think I said to you before, like if it was Australia on their own, maybe this doesn't work, but they've obviously rang up New Zealand and said, hey, let's do this together.
The Anzac spirit.
Essentially, and they've both come with that same agreement. And then
fuck these Poms, they're sending us up the hills of Gallipoli. Let's take it back off them. What do you reckon?
Well, I think they're the two main ones, and with those two, then all the other Southern Hemisphere nations, Fiji, PNG, Tonga, Samoa,
Cook Islands,
etc., are going to be in a position where it's like if they're pulling out, half our guys are playing in that league anyway.
Yeah, and we spoke about that a few nights ago. Like I think, especially in Samoa and Tonga, just about everyone plays in the NRL from them. And if they're not in the NRL, they're playing Queensland Cup or New South Wales Cup. None of them. I was thinking the other night, maybe a few of them play in the islands, but fucking none of them play there. They all play here.
Yeah, they come over and play in, like you said, the lower tier, the cups. So I can see that it's more political. It's a business move, trying to push it here. I know the International Rugby League wasn't happy when they kind of alluded to this a week ago. And now that it's official, I'm guaranteed they'll be pissed. It looks like it'll be... they could just say, fine, you guys are forfeited. England will probably be the favourites then. And then there'll be all the Northern Hemisphere teams. So
watch every Australian come out with their fucking Samoa jersey or Tonga jersey after that happens.
Well, it might help the tier 2 nations a bit more, especially this end of the hemisphere. So of the planet, they definitely get around those teams more than they would the Northern Hemisphere ones. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Considering British Open, the British Grand Prix, Wimbledon all happened in the last 2 or so weeks.
Yeah, what were we saying? What were we saying at Silverstone over the weekend? They had 300,000 people
over the weekend, 140 on race day.
We treat it differently here, don't we?
Yeah.
Don't we? We shut down a state over two cases, and their business as usual goes over there. But they look. And I hate to take away from sport.
It's the political part of it.
It's massive, and they're playing a massive. Like Boris Johnson's playing a massive experiment here, where the experiment is human lives.
Yeah, but the other side is their vaccination rate is a lot higher than ours.
60%. That still means 40% are unvaccinated. So 40% of England is Australia.
Yes, but it's a lot higher.
To put it that way,
it's a lot higher than what we've got, of course.
Correct.
Ours is a lot. Are we up to double digit vaccination rate, or
maybe one dose we might be?
Yeah. So
what are you reading there, Monks? Is anything of note there to report on?
No, not really. No. So I guess both the ARL and New Zealand Rugby League have stated that it is all due to COVID, and they're protecting the safety of the players,
player welfare, and you've also got to think. Maybe this isn't just about players getting COVID. We did speak about it the other night. Being in lockdown, being in a bubble.
Half the players might have been
up in Brisbane, for ages. Yeah, and then, as if a rugby league season isn't long enough to go and have to play a World Cup, the demand on your body is huge. To be away from your family from that long, maybe there is a bit of a push from the Players Association to say we don't want this to happen.
Yeah, because
it's a flow on from last season as well. So they had a short delayed season last year, short off season this year.
Well, they might be
players that were in State of Origin at the end of last year, played a few extra weeks, and then that's sort of just compounding up until now. And it's like,
well, and what about the Warriors who were away from home all last year? If we have a look,
well, they're meant to play round 22, and I don't think that's going to happen now. This rate, they'll have to keep them here because they won't be able to send them back and then get them all back over here.
No, but I mean in regards to the World Cup. if you were sending guys from the Warriors who essentially didn't see any of their family last year, went home for the off season, came home, haven't seen many of their, I think wives and immediate family, but you're not around.
Yeah, exactly.
Your extended family, it's like 2 years away.
Well, currently,
away from home.
From now, if they play the rest, they could play the rest of the season in Queensland. And that goes to October, and then they're get on a plane, and then go probably for another 2 months, and go to England to finish off the World Cup.
It's 5 weeks, 23rd of October to 27th November.
Yeah.
So it's a long and look, they get paid well. A lot of people, a lot of fucking I'll say it, dead shits. We'll say they get paid well. They should just do their job. Rah, rah, rah. But
in the NRL, they don't get paid huge amount of money. It's not like Aaron Rodgers sitting at home making $40-odd million.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. But I like to believe in the conspiracy theory. I think it is Volandis. He's been watching Austin Powers. He's got the Swedish penis enlarger going. He's just pumped up that cock, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
The horseman.
Yeah, the horseman. He's got the horse cock going. He's become an emperor. He's Emperor Volandis of fucking Star Wars, and he's got unlimited power. And I think he's going to bring it down here, and we're going to be watching the Rugby League World Cup in Australia. That's my hot take. Controversy corner.
Well, Queensland's got all the other sports at the moment. They might as well have the World Cup.
And no COVID in Canberra. We say it every fucking week.
Imagine that World Cup in Canberra.
World Cup final, Canberra, Bruce Stadium.
How good. Full crowd.
Well, yeah, it was funny because you mentioned that this is all coming from, I guess, for Volandis and the board there, and haven't really heard too much from the players. So it's interesting to see that we haven't seen the opinion of the players. Do players actually want to go across to England?
Well, here's one for you. If you don't, how does it show on you if you come out and say, I'm a professional NRL athlete and I don't want to go represent my country? How well is that boded for Ben Simmons and Liz Cambridge?
We've seen it recently. Not well.
Yeah.
So if you're a player, maybe there is that sentiment amongst the players, and they've gone, can you guys release this so we don't have to come out and say that?
Pretty much.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anyways, time will tell. Fucking it changes every day in this in this NRL era. So we'll see what happens. I just don't see how you can have a Rugby League World Cup without Australia and New Zealand.
And if it continues, I can't see how you'd have a World Cup without the Southern Hemisphere. So
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. That'd be
maybe we'll just have our own.
Yeah,
blackjack and hookers.
well, what about on the car ride over to Monks? I was saying we could actually field a reasonable team with just Super League guys.
Yes, there is that. Run us through, Peps.
What did I write to you? It's in my phone somewhere. Okay, so I haven't got a full team. I tell you what,
though Greg Inglis tore his hamstring, so
but by late October, it's 12 weeks away.
You could be healthy.
So GI's got the skip. Lachlan Coote, he's actually played for Scotland before, but I'm sure he'll renege on that if he can play for Kangaroos. Got Bevan French, he was quite handy. James Maloney, Origin winning, grand final winning James Maloney. Josh Drinkwater's playing quite well. You got Josh Reynolds over there. You could play as a 14. If you wanted to pick a team of halves, actually, there's a halves fucking stacked over there. You got Nathan Peets. He was a shout to play Origin a few years ago. You've got Joel Thompson. You got Chase Blair. Jason Clark played 100 games with South Sydney, just to name a few. Darcy Lussick, he's a big bopper. I'm not saying that's a World Cup winning side. I'm saying they'll fucking knock off a few of those smaller nations. Don't worry about that. So worst comes to, maybe they could do that.
They'll get out of the group stage, definitely.
Yeah, you'd think so. Anyways, time will tell. I'm sure this is a conversation that happened for a few days and something else happens in a few days.
Yeah, someone else will blow something else up in the NRL.
Given how this league runs at the moment. Yes. Another big story is Gus Gould. He has turned his back on the New Zealand Warriors and is set to join the Bulldogs as GM.
It wasn't a huge turn his back on the job he was hired for. He couldn't do because he couldn't go to New Zealand.
Right.
So the basically,
and there was no contract. There was no. It was like an advisory role kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he was meant to help with some of the youth program and the grassroots as they call it, and that's very hard to do when you can't go to New Zealand.
Sure.
I think he'd only been able to do one trip this year.
Yeah.
So
and to be fair, he got Reece Walsh and Matt Lodge had a fucking blinder on the weekend, so he's done a few things for him.
Yeah. So but a GM role, which is the same role he had at Penrith, that came along at Canterbury.
Well, that went pretty well as well.
Yeah. Well,
you
could say they're reaping the benefits of that now.
They definitely are. And you know when he went there, Penrith were garbage. They were like a Canterbury are at the moment, and completely turned the club around. Invested in youth, invested in guys coming through, and that's again we've spoken about it before on the Esky. A reason why they're so good is because they've all played together forever.
Chemistry is surprisingly important.
It's huge. It's huge. And straight off the bat, they've signed Tavita Pangai Jr.
Got 3 years starting from next season.
3 years. He's going to finish off the year at Penrith. So turns out James Fisher-Harris, we were speaking on Monday about Benji Marshall and Will Chambers, how they'd elected to miss a few games to be there for their partners, the birth of their children with their partner. I said that's a great move. Good on you boys for doing that. So JFH, who's essentially been one of the best props in the league this year, he's going to miss a few games. So TPJ will be able to step in his absence. And then after that, he probably comes off the bench. My concern with this short-term deal is a bloke that's been in there, has done a pre-season, he's played 19, 20 rounds, and then a guy comes in and essentially, like Penrith probably make the GF. If they don't, they go a long way. He's taking someone's spot from finals games and maybe a grand final, maybe even from a grand final win. How does that sit with you?
Well, the other ones, of course, there was chat about Anthony Milford going to Parramatta.
Was the main candidate.
And then Xavier Coates, of course, going down to Storm earlier, considering he's not playing for
straight swap for Brenko Lee, they were saying.
Yes. So, and then that's an Origin winger going to from one of the worst clubs to the best, just like you've got
exactly the same with Pangai Jr.
Yeah, one of the premier forwards in the game. Yes, he does some silly shit and got to work on his game a little bit, but he's still an absolute wrecking ball. He's going to the second or arguably first best team in the league at the moment. So the good get better and the bottom teams, the worst teams are getting worse. So I don't know. I love my NFL comparisons. I do like the strict more contracts where there's a period for it happens, everything's set, and that's the year. These guys were free agents and they'd cut them and let them go. Yeah, that's fine. Like
different story.
He's getting a job, but we're working out contracts and reneging and sorting things out and signing guys for next year when this year's not over and all that sort of stuff. And Gus is one of the classic ones. They all come out and say, it'll never work having a free agents period. They'd always, they'd all loopholes or the dodgy background deals. They'll always happen. But the NFL, which is $1 billion league, has no problem with this. Probably because there's you got skin in the game. You do it, you lose. You will get fined heaps. You'll draft picks for them. You lose draft picks. There's fines there. You can definitely put fines in place for this. You lose competition points. You lose whatever. Yes, maybe you lose a year because you're signing Aaron Rodgers. You do the wrong deal and get Aaron Rodgers for a year. Or you get the Tommy Turbo in this case. You've done and you get him signed for the next 6 years. But you lose a whole season trying to sort that out. And then that probably kills your current club because everyone else goes, well, I'm fucking off.
Well, that's what we haven't spoken about. We spoke about the effect on guys missing out at Penrith or Melbourne that have put in a whole year. What about the rest of the Broncos and the rest of those guys that go, fuck,
we're in a rebuild now. So
we've been struggling all year and now we've lost arguably our best forward along with Payne Haas for the rest of the year. It's like, with Cronulla sacking John Morris at the start of the year and cleaning out, but telling a whole bunch of players we don't want you this year. It's kind of like giving up on this season saying we're just putting all our chips into next year.
Yep.
So, I don't know how it sits with me.
As a fan, it's not great because you're like for the Cronulla, what was it, week 6 or something?
Yeah, early,
Yeah, you're just like, well, my team's not doing anything this year. I'm not going to go to any of those.
And we talk about the shit crowds at Cronulla, and we said, maybe it's because they got to go across the bridge to St George, but maybe it's because they've fucking given up on this season.
Yeah, the front office he's mailed it in, told all the fans, we're not worried about this year. Come back next season. So the fans are going, okay, cool, we will. It's I don't know. It's not a great look.
So as a fan of the team, it's not good. So you reckon as a fan of the sport as well, it just doesn't look good either?
Yeah, well,
it's foreign. You talk about the American sports, how it's been established for a long time. That Premier League soccer and all the European soccer leagues have got transfer deadlines. You know, that by this date you've got to get your trades in, and they will have mid-season trades.
They've got a date.
It's August 1.
It's August 1, or it's in August, but that's like round 22 or 23. Yeah. There's like 4 rounds left and there's a year. Like, doesn't make any sense. We're
round 19 now, so it's the end of round 21. So you can go and play the last 2 regular season games. No,
it's 5. It's 26 rounds.
The last 5 regular season games.
Yeah, you play a month for another 10.
A month and then go play finals. And potentially be a grand final winning player in Pangai Junior, or if Coates gets the nod to go to Melbourne early.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
As a player, if I'm Xavier Coates, I'd be saying, fuck fuck
as a player,
Yeah, let me go now. Yeah.
But for him, it makes sense because, you know, he's playing there next year.
Yeah.
Pangai's just like, he's 100% alone. Like, he's a rental. He's like, you get 3 months of rental on him, and then he's going.
Maybe it makes more sense for him to go try and get a ring now and then go try and help with his Canterbury rebuild.
Say, you know, he breaks his femur or some shit.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised
the Canterbury's is like,
let him done it. Yeah.
Well, the Canterbury would be pissed off, but he's just as likely to do that now playing for Brisbane.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, but
anyway, and looking at his legs,
the risk.
It'd take some serious fucking force to be breaking that.
Yeah, but the thing, if they did, like, you know, that's going to set him back massively.
Sure,
but you know.
I just don't see much clout. I don't see any clout behind that because he could do that at Brisbane.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably it. So he's probably got more chances of doing it at Brisbane than he does at Penrith because, like you said,
I don't think you can talk about chances of injuries.
In Brisbane, I mean, in Penrith, like, he play for a couple of weeks and then when
he might not be an 80-minute
player back, then he's on the bench. So
well,
for Canterbury's point of view, it's great sort of learning for him because he can go play with a championship winning team potentially, learn a lot from them, and then take that straight to Canterbury and start a rebuild that way.
I can see the benefit of that, but I can also there is a lot of risk in signing these contracts, and I want to bring out, you know, I think teams can't afford, they have to do it. Like if Canterbury doesn't sign him now, the Tigers next week will do that.
And that had been the chat for weeks.
Yeah.
That the Tigers were TPJs.
But you look at Tomalolo's deal, and they're talking about a 10-year deal for Payne Haas.
We'll get to that in a bit, I think. But
the risk in it, like the amount of
massive.
Same thing. Like they do something in year 2, and then, you know, you're on the hook. There's definitely a couple of baseball players that I know are still getting paid, and they've been retired for 20 years just because of how stupid their deals were.
Anyways, boys, hate to cross codes here, but the Aussie Roos have just scored against Argentina. We've got that going live at the moment.
Up the Olympics.
They were $6.50 rank outsiders here. Let's just take a look, see if this goal's going to stand.
Nice clearing kick.
Yeah, nice. Oh, bang, bang. Oh, that. If you boys have played any FIFA, this is pretty close to a Jew goal. and I'm not anti-Semitic. That's just what they get called. I'm sorry for
sweaty. That's a sweaty goal.
Yeah.
Well done, boys. 1-0. That's massive. Yeah. That's huge.
Especially against Argentina.
Yeah.
Park the bus for the next.
No. Especially going back to the FIFA reference, that generally doesn't work.
No.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Should we move into this round 19?
Yeah. And we should talk about the first game, Para versus Canberra.
0-0 at half time.
0-0 at half time.
All the new rules, high scoring. We've got a 0-0 half. That's fuck. Can't remember the last time that's happened.
Yeah. Well, there's been a few penalties in this. We've kind of talked about how, you know, the reffing has changed a little bit. A few high shots that definitely haven't resulted in sin bins or send off. But from what I've seen, it's been a pretty good contest, and there's been a lot of good defensive play on the goal line. So they're actually some defense for once in an NRL game.
Unbelievable. Defense.
This, of course, being played at Seabus.
Yep.
Seabus Super Stadium. Paro coming off a win. They won 26-8 against the Titans last week. They've won.
No, they run in 4 tries to none.
Did it easy in the first half.
It was over in the first half. Shout out to Reid Marnie. He looked good returning from his shoulder injury, that one that he sustained after being sent out of the Origin camp for game 1. So good to see him back. And Blake Ferguson's back in the side after a few weeks playing reserve grade. Hayes Dunster misses out there. And
the big one, though.
The big talking point, Mitch Moses. Where are your haters at? Because he played 80 minutes of Origin football with a fucking broken back.
Yeah. I think it happened within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And, most of the game
and
he's played
people sitting behind their keyboards going, where's Mitch Moses?
Yeah.
Was missing?
He's Mitch Pearce. Like, come on.
Fucking
Give us the props.
Should go break every one of their backs and see how many tackles they can make at an Origin level. Fuck me, seriously. So, that's shocking for Mitch. No one really saw that coming.
That's his season done, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know how bad it is. You can have small fractures depending where, like, people hear spinal. It's spinal.
They assume worse.
And they assume the worst.
But you never know. They might go in there and just fuse his discs together and then, like, it's good to go.
No, it might. Well, I'll tell you right now, if they fuse his discs, he's not playing this year. But if he's got some kind of small fracture on, like, a transverse process, the outside of the spine, away from the spinal cord.
Something is manageable and pain relief.
Possibly he might be back towards the end of the year. But a massive blow, and I think it's young Jacob Arthur that's playing 7 for them tonight. The Raiders, they were... do you have anything there about that? Or?
So pretty close to what you said. I think it's a fracture in one of the small bones to the side of the spine.
It's spinal.
Brad Arthur actually said that it was pretty close to playing this week.
Yeah.
But
so
it's probably just resting him and
and why would you risk anything? Like,
especially your halfback.
Exactly. Let's have
for
a look.
top 4 side.
Well, let's have a look at their run. I think they play the Storm soon.
It's probably what they think. Shows what they think about the Raiders.
Well, how about this? They play the Roosters next week. They play South, and then they play Manly, and then they play North Queensland, and then they play the Storm, and then they play Penrith.
Yeah.
So that's literally the hardest run home.
Yeah, get healthy, son. We're going to need you.
That there is. So you sit him against the Raiders and say, fuck that, and we'll get him back in. He might be back in a few weeks.
Yeah,
so
I don't think they've beaten anyone good at the moment either. So they
beat Melbourne back in round 3 or round 2.
That was
round 2 maybe it was. Yeah. But... Yeah, maybe way back when.
It was early.
It was long before this Melbourne Storm run, which we'll talk about soon. You just say, Mitch, rest up and we'll get you back for one of those important games in a few weeks. Going over to the Raiders, they won 34-18 last week over Cronulla. It was a massive win for the Milk because Cronulla in that log jam vying for one of those last top 8 positions. It was effectively a 4-point premiership point win. So they get the 2 and Cronulla don't. And there's only 2 points separating 8th and 13th at the moment. So it's really tight. Jack Whiten, unavailable. He's out with a rib. And big Josh Papali'i backed up from Origin and he's playing tonight. Still no Elliot Whitehead.
Shoulder.
Yeah.
Still injured.
Lingering.
And I think Big Papa went off with a HIA check before, but I think he's all right. I saw him back there in the shed. So
with that skull, you'd hope so.
You'd hope so, yeah. Like having to go off for HIA.
Hate to be on the other end of it, that's for sure. Tell you who had a game last week, Corey Harawira Naira. He run 146 run meters, 30 tackles, 13 tackle busts, and 7 offloads. That's ridiculous. Tell you who had a game and is unfortunate, done for the season, Xavier Savage. 246 run meters, 9 tackle busts, crossed over for his first NRL meat pie, and pretty innocuous looking. Were you watching the game, Sean?
No, I wasn't. I was doing other stuff, and then I was checking some sports news.
Number one fan over it.
Well, they showed some highlights of, they had, I think it was about the 50th minute, he made a break and helped set up a try. And I was like, I'll turn this on. I'll watch some Savage. And I did watch the next 20 minutes and him setting up a few other like line breaks and breaking through the line. You could just see how electric he was. And then the shoulder injury happened and he played the last like 10 minutes on the wing. And you're just like, buckety.
They can't catch a break at fullback, can they? Between Shanzi and...
All the fullbacks are catching breaks at the moment, which is the problem. So.
I see what you did there. Because Bailey Simonson, he got hurt. What's happened? Do you know that Caleb Aikens? They were playing him for a little bit.
Yeah, hurt too.
Out.
And then
now
Nickel, of course, Chance has got the neck.
Yeah. So Rapana playing 1 tonight.
Yes. Yeah. And so AC injury, shoulder injury for Savage. He needs
surgical repair,
which is about 3 to 5 months for a return.
Possibly longer. At Bobcat, if you're listening, shout out to him, did an AC last year, poor fella. Yeah, not a good injury, and then anything that's surgery. Yeah.
So it is half time. It is 0-0. Hand on heart, who do you guys pick?
Well, it's 0-0, so it doesn't really matter that much, does it?
True.
I pick Parramatta.
Same.
Yeah, I went Parramatta.
Yeah.
The curse.
The curse. Matt, if Canberra can jag a win here, they go to 8 and 10, and probably 6 weeks ago, we go, season done, they're fucked, but in today's NRL, there's definitely a chance that they could play finals. I'm saying there's a chance.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've always talked about this and how the NRL season may be slightly too long. You could lose the first 10 rounds and still make the finals.
Yes, you'd have to go close to winning out. But
it's doable.
Well, yeah, you can legitimately you can go 3 and 7.
Yep.
Or 2 and 8 if and really turn it around. Look, Manly started 0 and 4.
Yep.
People talking about them pushing a Melbourne or a Penrith. So yeah, it's a long season. It's a war of attrition, and you can afford to drop a few early games if you can turn it on later in the year.
Definitely.
So we'll see what happens here. Definitely been a disappointing season thus far for the Raiders.
Next game, we got Roosters taking on Newcastle Friday night. That's in the Sunshine Coast. All the games going to be...
They're all in Queensland.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, reusing all the stadiums up there, probably getting prepped for possible Olympics coming forward, or World Cup.
Olympics in 11 years.
Yes.
Shout out to Anastasia Palaszczuk. Had to go to Japan to be there. Had to, didn't she? Fuck me. All right. The Chooks got a win last week over the Cowboys, but it came at a cost. Joseph Suwali out for the year. He needs surgery to repair Liz Frank. Essentially a ligament in your foot, which holds your foot together. That was the injury that Dane Swan did in the AFL, and ended his career. It's a nasty injury.
Mm-hmm. I know plenty of guys have done this injury and then try to play on it, and they're just not the same. Like to get push off force like through your foot and your leg, it's just so painful. You just can't do it.
Correct. So there were a lot of morons getting around going, oh, this is the NRL's fault. They shouldn't let him play. He's 17. Idiotic.
Yeah.
Because you're actually less likely to do soft tissue when you're young. You're more likely to have fractures. Yeah. And look, he's a fucking specimen of a 17-year-old, so would hardly be blaming the NRL. It's just another freak accident.
But the injuries keep rolling for the Roosters.
Well, so that's another season ender. So they've had 3 retirees that we've spoken about in Friend, Cordner, and Morris.
Yep.
And then they've had Lindsay Collins, Luke Keary, now Joseph Suwali.
I think the other Morris brother, they dropped him because of form at the moment.
Okay, right.
But there's a bit of chat that he's done, like he's phoned it in because he's just like
the body's given up, is it?
Yeah, well, with his brother finishing up, like he's got nothing. He's playing with his brother trying to win that championship. With his brother not there. I think the rumors getting around is it's gotten him down, and he's just like, there's nothing left for me really to do, and I don't need to chase anything. And his form's been down of late.
Accomplished it all. Got a premiership in 2010 with the Mighty Giants. Thank you, Josh Morris.
So they're in a rough spot.
The thing that I wanted to highlight, so that's 6 guys that go, sure, Suwali's a young'un, but is kind of the future. But 5 top-end first graders go, if that happens at any other club that's not Melbourne or Penrith, so let's say the Raiders or the Dragons,
even
our teams.
Even 3 and 4, like Manly and Eels, Para, like if this happens to them,
they're fucked.
They're done.
They're gone. The fact that the Roosters just keep winning, like they're 11 and 6, maybe those guys are there that we're talking. It's a 3 or 4 horse race rather than a 2 or 3. Unbelievable the depth that they've got over there in Bondi to just keep going and going.
Yeah, and they'll probably pay dividends for it next year when there's. I don't want to say it's a write-off year for them, but it's a year where they're actually building towards something.
Yep.
And you can see that they've got some talent there. I think they're really talking up their hooker at the moment as well.
Verrills.
Yeah, the young fella.
Yeah, he's come along well. And 2022, and you've got Keary, Collins, and an older, maybe bulkier Suwali coming in. Mm-hmm. Could be danger.
Yeah, we'll say the same thing for Walker.
Walker will be a year older.
Yeah,
Drew Hutchinson's only young. Joey Marnick, I always say it, he's so underrated.
You just look at Giannis, like if they all glow up like he did.
Then we're talking about that. 18-year-old Giannis is not the same as 24-year-old Giannis or whatever he is now.
It was actually like 4 or 5 inches and 440 pounds or something.
It's 4 or 5 inches just in his arms, bro.
So that's what we say when you say growing into your body and growing into a pro. Like
that while we're on it, let's fucking do it. That photo of Giannis 6 or 7 years ago and Middleton 6 or 7 years ago. Giannis is like a baby face, like skinny runt, and he's just turned into the Greek freak. He's fucking Adonis, Hulk, and Chris Middleton just looks a bit fatter and balder. Poor bloke. But he's Batman, apparently.
Yes, yeah.
Anyways, we must move forward in the NRL. Newcastle got belted by Melbourne. Water's wet, fucking everyone does.
Yep. Plus 19 again.
Yeah. So what were we saying? There's been one game in this streak where they've lost by less than 19 points.
Yep.
Against the Gold Coast Titans. Everything else has been 20 plus. So we always everyone talks about 13 plus because it's a betting line. They've all been 20 plus except for one.
Yep.
Madness.
Yeah, they're so good.
And
but in this game, the Newcastle though.
Yeah, Mitch Pearce was a late out with a hammy. Fuck my last chance for fantasy finals. Anyways, I'm not going to be one of those people that whinges about someone getting...
No, you fucked my multi.
Mate, the hate around Tohu Harris this week, fucking doing his ACL. Jeez, I'm going to start on that. Ponga did play, but unfortunately him and Clemmer were out early with HIAs. Yep. Was always going to be tough from there. It was 30-0 at half time. Melbourne cruised to another victory. So this week, Clemmer is out, but Ponga is in. That's big for the Knights. Is anyone backing them for an upset here?
No, I'm not.
I am neither.
No, I can't do it.
Tipson, sorry, odds marks then.
Yes, odds, please.
So Roosters are favourites $1.25. Newcastle are out at $4. Line is 12.5.
Yeah, I still think the Chooks get that done.
Yeah. Today's NRL, 13 plus.
$1.91 for Chooks 13 plus. There.
Yep.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of agreeance here on the Esky.
Yes.
With these tips. I was talking pre-show about tipping this year. You're kind of bummed if you don't get 7.
Yep.
Like how many?
That's it. You pick the favourites, and then you have that one where you're just like, oh, that'll be my Smoky.
You even go Smoky. Like you literally should just be picking favourites. Like normally you need a few Smokies at least, but this year it's just been so predictable. Yep. I was going, and I'm no king tipster here. I'm no Joseph McGrath if you're listening. But going back through my tips, I was like 7 last week. Thanks to West Tigers beating Brisbane, that fucked me there. Mm-hmm. The week before was a Origin one, so it was only half round. But I think before that, I was like 7, 8, 6, 7. Like it's just it's very, very predictable this year. Yep. And we talk about it with the AFL when we get round to there. It's you never know. You never know. There's been a lot of big boilovers in the AFL, and we haven't really had a major one that I can think of in the NRL.
No, nothing like that.
So moving into the next game Friday night, North Queensland Cowboys take on the Melbourne Storm up there at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. The Cowboys went down to the Chooks, as we spoke about. The Hammer, he backed up from Origin. He played fullback in the place of injured Valentine Holmes. He looked really good in the one jersey, and he's gone. Yeah. So
fullbacks can't catch it. Well, actually, they are catching breaks, but yeah.
Well, this one was on a break.
Yeah, this one's
Second time we made the joke, I'll let it slide. The yellow bin on that one.
Yeah.
The yellow lid on the bin even. So he actually had emergency surgery for an appendix. So he's had his appendix out. There's some. This one is a real speculator. We're talking about a broken back before. Organs. Sometimes if you heal up well, there's like a legit chance he could be back in 2 weeks. As Jordan Rapida makes a line break for the Raiders, and they will be attacking the Parramatta line here. The thing is here, what are we? Round 19s. You got 7 games to go. Say he's good to go in a month.
Yeah.
Do you risk a bloke for the last 2 or 3 games when most likely the Cowboys aren't going to be within QE of the 8?
No, especially when Hammer's only just played his first Origin game.
And he's 19.
And he's young. Like
what? Yeah. What is the point of rushing him back? If he's legitimately good to go in 3 or 4 weeks, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he wants to play, then yeah maybe. But
I tell you who is done for the year, poor Jarvid Bowen.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. ACL, I think it is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So we spoke about Melbourne. They smoked the Knights. See, there was a COVID fuck up, so both teams had to play in like a white kit. It was, I think, one of them had their Indigenous jersey and one was like a white away kit. It's you can kind of get away with it in rugby league. It's because both
you're setting your line.
Both teams have set their lines, but was quite confusing.
Just set up in the opposition's line.
Well, if you've been lazy getting back, maybe you do that.
Yeah, maybe.
And then your bloke runs at you and you're just like, so yeah, off you go.
Anyway, that was a bit funny. We speak about Melbourne and how fucking good they are. So the 2001 Parramatta Eels, Monkey found this on the Esky for us a few weeks ago, I think. Mm-hmm. They have the record for both most points scored in a season and the highest points difference.
Yep.
So they scored 839, is that correct?
Yep.
839 in the 01 season. And the Raiders are in. Harawira Naira again.
He's been good for them this year.
Fucking oath he has been. 839 points.
Not too sure about the booty shake as the celebration, though.
I didn't mind it. And their points difference that year was plus 433. So Melbourne's already eclipsed that points difference. Mm-hmm. So you imagine they've got that record in the bag.
And that's 17 games because they had one with the bye.
Yes. Gone. Yep.
So they've got another 8 games to go.
7 games.
Seven.
I think 7 to go. So
Stupid.
So they've got 30. They need 30 points a game to get the points record. The way they've been playing, they shit that in.
Yep.
The only thing is they play Penrith, Manly, and Parramatta going home. So there is a possibility that they miss out on that points record. Mind you, if they put 50 on North Queensland tomorrow, which I imagine they go close to doing, that record might be in serious danger. Nico Hines, fantastic again. He had 226 run meters, a try, 2 try assists, 4 tackle busts. See, he did a Bam Bam. he did a Danny Rick. Yeah. No beer in it, of course, but he took his shoe off and pretended he was doing a shoey for his try celebration.
The stat for him as well, he's won a premiership ring, and New South Wales series,
and didn't play.
Hasn't played a single minute. So
yeah, so he was the 19th man or 18th man, wasn't he, for New South Wales on last week, mm-hmm. and it must have been similar, like in the extended bench for the Storm last year. It's a bit of sad news for Melbourne. George Jennings did a PCL. He may be back for finals, 4 to 6 weeks on that. And some great news, really big news. Ryan Pappenhausen, he's been named on the bench. You know when Magic Round was?
2 months ago.
Over 2 months. So, yeah, huge for the Pap to be back. That's a long time to be out with concussion. And I think he had some neck injuries as well for that high shot from Terrell Fuimano. So, yeah, he'll be coming off the bench. Hopefully gets a bit of game time, some run in his legs, and we can see the bloke who really lit up the competition last year back to his scintillating form.
It'd be interesting to see what they do for a side. Like, Shumi comes back and play one, and then what do you do with
Hines?
Nico? Yeah, Hines. And if they get Coates as well, because you can't play one of them, say, on the wing.
Well, maybe with a George Jennings injury.
True, maybe they.
Does one of them go to the centres?
I don't think Pat's the centre, but Hines probably got the size.
Well, Hines could.
Yeah, Hines can play anywhere, I'd say, in the back line. So you do that.
But then what do you do with Remus Smith? Like, I don't know. Maybe one of them has to play on the wing. Because Justin Olam's a centre. He's not going anywhere. No. So maybe maybe they keep their centre pairings and one of them boys plays on the wing. Or
but if they get Coates,
or the way that they've been playing.
Craig Bellamy's just sitting down there going,
well, he's got all the and he's resting guys.
Yeah.
So Munster's not playing this, Kafusi's not playing this.
Just shows their contempt for bloody Cowboys. They just know they're going to smoke them.
And just how fucking good they are.
And you know, they've got Cheese and bloody Harry Grant as well to pick from at hooker.
It's ridiculous.
It's so crazy.
We've spoken about it before on the Esky. If you want to expand, you just expand have Melbourne reserves play in there. They'll dust a few teams. Don't worry about that.
Someone better go down there and check their books, see if they've got some other books lying around.
Well, famously in trouble for that before. Marks, can you let us know the odds? I think we'd all be tipping the Storm here.
I want to know how short the plus 13 is.
Yeah,
what the line is.
You're getting less than $1.30 for plus 13 most games now with Melbourne. Yeah, the line is the interesting one. It's probably in the 20s.
Yeah, so Melbourne are down at $1.03.
There. What do you do if this game's at Amy Park?
And they're resting Munster.
And they're resting 3 guys.
Yeah. If anyone is interested out there, Cowboys are at $13. So in line with that, breaking that record, Melbourne Storm are plus 30.5.
And 13 plus $1.14.
Yep. crazy.
It's the state.
Well, that's free. That's free money. You might as well bet on that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, well, it is, I guess. All right, let's go on. Let's go into Saturday. Let's go into Saturday.
South versus Warriors. Warriors at 5-12. South 14-3. It'd be interesting. Well, big news out of this. Alex Johnson, who's kind of the only one that we've talked about chasing down the try-scoring record, does his hammy. Probably going to miss a month.
Yeah.
He's already had a great year. I think he's very close to 20 tries, if not 20 tries already on the season.
Might be 19. I'll have a look.
Yeah,
at that
like he's
now.
if he can keep that going, he's going to get within a shout if he can play out his full career. But that's a big loss. But it does mean Josh Mansour gets a run.
Forget about me. He scored 24 tries this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
what the fuck?
Yeah, like he's good.
What? He scored 3 hat-tricks in the last 5 weeks or something, hasn't he? Yeah. So we've looked this up before. The all-time record's like ridiculous. Like it'll never get broken.
It's 212.
I thought you were talking about season.
Oh, for season.
Well, for his career, he's well on track.
I thought season was either 28 or 32.
I thought we looked it up and it was 32 or 34, but it was fucking
38.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Yeah, and when was that? Like fucking
Back in 1935.
Buzz Rothfield was a fucking 30-year-old. That's interesting. Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's going to miss a month, so he can't. Well, if he was healthy, maybe it'd be a shout for that. But
38.
Yeah. Well, he's got another seven rounds.
Okay. Yeah.
There's 28 possible tries there if he gets a hat trick in each one of them.
See if you can find the NRL era record, because I can't imagine it's many more than 24. So he would have been working. He would have been walking that in, if you will. The
big year for tries though. I think it's probably
Adam Carr's on 19. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
Turbo's probably not too far behind.
Yeah, and missed what? He didn't play the first 4 games and then 3 with Origin, and then maybe rested. He probably hasn't played 8 games. Fucking ridiculous. You want to know? I just had it open. Turbo tries is 14 tries.
Yeah,
and he's probably hasn't played 8 games. Ridiculous. South's coming off a win against Canterbury. They actually had a bit of a slow start. We'll talk about Cody Walker and Lachlan Lewis in a sec. But it was some great punting from our long-time listener of the Esky. Big fan, Ross the Big Dog Chilton. He had a big old multi, essentially with a lot of teams 13 plus, with South 13 plus.
Not a bad multi, yep.
Yeah, South for the last leg, 13 plus. Was a bit worried about it. And and ahhing, should he hedge his bet? Should he cash out? What should he do? Ended up putting a little hedge on. So just with South 1-12, they were down at the half. Thought I'll cash that out, cashed it out, and then got the hedge and made good money there. And there was a big argument in the group as to is hedging your bet the same as cashing out? No, it is not. It is not. Well played, Big Dog. I hope you're listening. Big fan of the show. Thank you for your support. Great punting, mate. In terms of the Warriors, they were actually pretty fucking amicable against Penrith.
They've got some talent there.
And they had a horror day, though, because Tolu Harris, he limped off early, and there was some absolute fucking cretins getting around on the internet. Oh, I captained him, and he fucked me fantasy team. My fantasy team. I'll tell you what, why don't you get your fantasy team, roll it up in the fucking... No, here's what you need to do. Soak it in vodka, and stick it up your ass. Because then you can...
Ooh, that'll sting. That'll burn.
Because... you might get a little tinge from it, but you also might get a little bit pissed off it too. And you might make more sense when you're hammering at a bloke for doing his ACL. Fuck off.
Yes.
Outside of that, they started really, really well. RTS had a head knock. He was out cold. Wade Egan had to go for a HIA. So they were and this was all in the first half.
Yeah.
Three of their better players, really. RTS, their 9, and Tolu Harris, their best forward, arguably, all go early, and they're playing the competition, the second best team in the competition, let's put it that way.
Oh, well, they're competing.
Sure.
They're I think, equal for wins. It's just on points differential
They're
at the
tier
moment.
1. They're tier 1.
They're tier 1, yeah.
They're tier 1. And after that, they only went down by 12 points. Well done to the Warriors. Matt Lodge had a blinder. Broncos fans would be fucking crying. He played 80 minutes, 144 run meters, 27 tackles, 10 tackle busts, and even... a try assist. You don't see that too often out of a prop. You see Kane Evans' wrist tape?
Yes, and I think he's going to get $5,000 fine for it as well.
Joking.
Nah,
$5,000.
The league's not happy about it. So what we're talking about, it said fold some, see you next Tuesday.
Yes.
I thought it was hilarious. I'd love this.
Yeah,
as if you wouldn't look at that and be like, that'd G you up. So
I suppose the problem is that the cameras picked it up.
Yeah, and all
there's kids. They might be watching
yada.
yada, 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 yada.
Yeah.
The Raiders, Rapana's on one.
Mm-hmm. Just from dummy half.
Yeah, 10 zip Canberra.
Ooh, they might run away with this now. They've got some good possession.
Well, our long-going theory that Parramatta might be a little bit of a Foo Fighters song.
True.
The Pretender.
Well, yes. But
I thought that might have been worth a laugh, but anyways, I'll go fuck myself.
But I would have said, that would make sense if they're playing against one of the, say, the top 4, 5, or 6 teams. That's not the Raiders. The Raiders are very much lower than them on the ladder.
Yep, sure.
So you can't really be pretenders against a lower team than you.
No. I'm saying we've spoken about it in general. They're pretenders in the league. Look, I don't think they win this year. I don't think they go anywhere close.
No, it's a Penrith Storm final. Let's fuck off the rest of it and just play that now. Like we all know that's what it's going to be.
Turbo Manly is in the chat.
Oh, true. Yeah, they're the dark horse, of course.
And South, like we talk about South because they've conceded 50 twice. They're 14-3.
South's not going to do it.
If they can sort out the defense, maybe they'll lose a preliminary final.
Yeah, they're not doing it.
I imagine we're all tipping South here, lads. Again, the line is probably more interesting than anything.
Probably a big 13 plus.
Souths are favourites at $1.15. New Zealand are out at $5.50. The line is 18.5.
It's a big line.
Yep.
It's a big line.
South score points though.
They sure do. Yeah, they sure do. They concede points. What's the? Have you got? Yeah, it's one of the questions that we asked.
Unconfirmed, but sources say most tries in a season
25.
within the NRL era. Yes, 25 from Nathan Blacklock back in 2000. 2000
and 0.
2000.
And
tied with Reece Wesser, Penrith Panthers 2003, and Brett Morris 25 for the Dragons as well.
There you go. It was one off
tying
with 8 games to go,
and 2 off. 2 off being the outright. So that sucks. He might be able to get back and get that record.
Quite possible.
Depends how bad that hammy is.
Yeah. Speaking of records, Jared Croker has just tied Jonathan Thurston for the most points scored in league of 2,222.
You going to flag him off again, or you going to give him a pat on the back?
Oh, I did pat him on the back. It doesn't mean he's still not a turnstile. Like, come on.
All right. So Raiders lead 12 zip. 25 minutes to go up there against Parramatta.
Sorry, just quickly. So Johnson is looking at 2 to 4 weeks on the sideline. So
he should still get this record.
Yeah.
The NRL era.
It is hammy though, and we know how bad the hammies for Turbo was last year. Like it was in and
recurrent,
out. So
recurrent.
It's very high.
But even if say they go conservatively and take 4 weeks, that gives him 3 weeks to score 1 to tie it up, or to score 2 and
take it
have it outright. Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me he gets 30 by the end of the year. If he plays the last 3 or 4 games.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. Mm-hmm. Good luck beating that in the NRL era.
Well, if the way NRL's going, like next season it could be worse. So there could be more points. They're going for college football kind of numbers at the moment.
Sure. Let's go into 5:30 Saturday night up at Suncorp Stadium. Manly take on the West Tigers. Manly pumped St George in the end, really, 38-12 with no Turbo Brothers or DCE. Kieran Foran, he turned back the clock. He was leading the boys around really well. Ooh, that could be a Parramatta try. We'll keep an eye on that.
That's a good.
And the return of young Josh Schuster was massive for the Sea Eagles. He'd missed 5 weeks with a calf. He's named at halfback. He never really plays halfback. He's more like a ball-playing back rower. He put through that man, Kieran Foran, with a no-look try assist. He also had...
My mate, the turnstile.
Yeah. There was another bloke there. And Blake Ferguson's going, why the fuck have I been playing reserve grade for the last
Pretty much.
That's big from Big Fergo. Big Sedgy Ferg. Oh, he nearly spilled the bomb.
He nearly fumbled that.
Let's have a look. fucking ball. Oh, there's three of them in there.
So weak.
You can't just put that on Croker.
Well, Croker forgot where his arms were. He didn't know they existed.
His shoulder's been giving him grief. I wonder if it was there.
Yeah.
And then Fergo puts in the chip to put Dylan Brown through.
Yeah, I think that was weak from a lot of them, to be honest.
Yeah, so game on up there, 12-6 with about 20-odd minutes to go. Well, 12-4 with a kick to come, I should say. Where were we? Manly against the Dragons. They actually, the first half was very, very close, and then Manly just turned it on in the second half. And look, I know it was only the Dragons, but Manly, we're to talk about Melbourne and Penrith being tier 1. Manly up there in tier 2 now. They may be one of the only teams that can actually bother these guys.
They're the dark horse, as I said before. Like, it's those two, and Manly on their day could beat them.
Yep. Yeah, you look at some of the games that Turbo plays, and I tend to agree with you before. I was kind of being a bit devil's advocate for South. They're very good attacking. Well, I've already made my views clear about Parramatta. I don't think they bother anyone deep in the year, and the Roosters are decimated. So
the thing that's playing in Manly's favour, they do have the best player in the league at the moment. So.
The best player in the world.
Yeah, that helps.
Tommy Turbo.
So you're saying Roosters season's done?
I'm saying they don't win the premiership.
Yeah, they'll get in the finals and they'll lose. Well, they'll probably beat whoever they are in round one, but then they'll lose.
They're fifth at the moment, and they're 4 points behind Parramatta, so you wouldn't think that they jump them, although who knows.
Yeah, so they're going to play Para round one.
And then they're 2 points ahead of Manly, but then they're 6 clear of St George in 7th.
Actually, no, what's the order? It's not 4 and 5 anymore, is it?
No, that's
years ago. Yeah.
Years ago. So it's a 1, 4, 2, 3. Winner gets a week off. 5, 8, 6, 7. Mate, they haven't done that since fucking 2006 or something.
So the Roosters they'd beat 8, and then they'll go into the following week and then lose to whoever lost the previous week.
Yeah, you'd imagine.
Which could be Manly or Parramatta. So
yeah, or they come up against the Red Hot Dragons in 8th place and then fucking knock them off first week. Who knows? Anyways, going back to this game. Fuck, it's a long Manly West Tigers preview. The Tigers, they, much like Manly, had a massive second half against the Broncos. Adam Doueihi, he had a game, 5 try assists, 143 run meters.
They found something in him. I think he's definitely their six of the future.
Yeah, he's unreal. He's so good, such a good buy.
Did you hear that the Tigers offered the Raiders Luke Brooks and Moses for Hodgson and Whiteton?
Luke Brooks and Moses
Mbai
for Jack Whiten and
Hodgson.
And the Raiders said no.
They told them to fuck off.
Well, that's fair because
it's a stupid deal. It just shows where the Tigers kind of are. They're like,
desperados.
He was like, you won, and they're like, no, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Fuck off.
Desperate.
Yeah, very desperate. Just kind of shows where the Tigers are at the moment.
That's a 2 a.m. message. Hey, babe, you up? What do you reckon here, boys? I imagine it's 3 Manly.
Big time.
Probably more interested in the line.
Give us a line,
13 plus more than anything.
There'd be $1.05.
No, only slightly up from that. Seagulls are $1.12. Tigers are not that makes much difference.
Mate,
Tigers,
that's 7 cents. That's
free money
in your multi. That makes a
free
lot
money.
Of
True. West Tigers out 650. The line is 19.5.
Well, I think they'll cover that easy.
T. Trebojevic named, and also hasn't played for a bit. J. Trebojevic named, and DCE back. So
twin turbo with the DC. Yeah, they'll win.
Or are they triple turbo?
Probably.
No, I think Ben. He got that big head knocked, didn't he?
Yeah, but I thought he played last week for these guys being out.
Not named.
I could be wrong.
Not named B Turbo.
No. Anyway, Penrith Brisbane. Another game we probably don't need to talk lots about. Penrith by all the points. They, as we said, had the brave win over the Warriors. Kikau had a double. To'o had 280 run meters in a try. Career average is like greater than 50 meters. So that's
50. His run meters per game are 50 meters more than any active player.
Yes.
I think 2 was Blake Ferguson on that list.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fucking ridiculous.
It's crazy.
So we talk about 280 run meters. I think his average is like 248 or something.
Yep.
So it's like only just like above average for him.
Yep.
But for anyone else, it's obscene. Viliami Kikau had the double, and Jerome Luai, he's back this week. That was pretty quick with that MCL.
Yep.
So that's a big in for them.
Yeah, it might not have been a huge like tear or anything, but more swelling and soreness, and that's gone down. So back in the squad. Is Punga going to play this week?
I doubt it.
I doubt again. I thought it was a week, but then I remember reading something saying that he could, like, part of his deal was to get him out there as soon as possible. But
He's not named in any of this.
I wouldn't have thought so. Broncos, on the other hand, well, that'd be interesting. He'd go to Penrith and play Broncos first game back. So yeah. But Broncos, on the other hand, they didn't show up for the second half against the Tigers and got smoked by 24 points in the end?
Yeah,
or 22. Yeah. So 42 to 24.
I think that was it.
Something like that.
Pangai Jr. not playing for Brisbane, so he's out from Red Hill.
Yeah, he's not out of Red Hill. I think probably a week to make his way out west.
Yep.
Yeah. And as we talked about, there's I'm sorry, I just read your second note there. There's some chat about the 10 years for...
What note? This was an off-the-cuff joke. This was an off-the-cuff joke. There's no note.
Yes, what's your off-the-cuff joke there, Beth?
Well, we're talking about Payne Haas. We should introduce that first. How he's getting... there's some chat that they might offer him a 10-year deal, much like a Taumalolo,
Yes.
a Buddy Franklin in the AFL.
Mm-hmm.
And all I was saying... off the top of my head was that's like 3 marriages for Jennifer Lopez. It's a long time. It might be 4 marriages in Hollywood these days.
Engagements for her.
Yeah.
She collects engagement rings like Thanos. Like, come on.
Like Thanos. You know, I've never seen one of those movies ever. My brother Sam, shout out. I'm sure you're not listening. Hate sport.
We should do a history one.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
We've talked about Julius Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar. I think Hitler's got a run.
Yeah, Genghis, of course.
Genghis has been in there.
Yeah.
Some Churchill, of course.
Alexander the Great.
Yeah. That's about it.
So we could say more.
Yeah, let me think about one.
Payne Haas, what do we think about 10 years deals? I think there seems to be common consensus. It's too long.
We talked about it earlier. Risk.
Risk reward is nuts.
Yeah.
What's the club thinking? Are they thinking that player wages are going to go up so rapidly that we can get someone, even if they only give us 5 good years or 6 good years, with the rate of inflation of player wages, if we lock them in now and get them on a fixed salary, even if they only give us 5, 6, 7 good years, we still come out on top? Is that what they're thinking?
That makes sense for Paddy Mahomes. It doesn't make sense in the NRL.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be hugely significant.
Even look at Taumalolo. Wouldn't mind Googling Taumalolo contract.
I think it's like an average $1 million a year, and I don't think
he's been visibly slower this year in terms
banged
of...
up, broke hands, other injuries.
And injuries aside, just not getting the run meters, not getting the tackle bus, not being that... Like 2-3 seasons ago... hands down, best forward in the comp, fucking daylight second.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of like, oh, well, if you had to name an NRL team of the year, he's not in it.
No, he's not in it. But he's still giving you good, decent output, but he's not.
Great player. Great. I'm not hating on JT. Like, I'm just saying he's slowed down from where he was a few years ago.
And I'd say it's the wrong position. Like, that deal kind of makes more sense for a halfback. Yeah.
Halfback, fullback.
Yeah, like, one of those, I'd say the 2 half positions, maybe not 5'8", but I can see why you would.
Yeah.
Like, Munster would make sense.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you.
But
Nathan Cleary, you get someone young.
Yeah, but take a front rower or hooker, like they're the running backs of this league. Like, they're going to get beaten up all the time. They're going to have injuries. Sustaining that output of play for 10 years is very, very hard.
Sure.
And I don't think it makes sense, the money side of it. Like, again, going back to Paddy Mahomes, I think he averages 35-ish mil, between 35 and 40 mil average. And I know the average contract...
US is like 50, isn't it?
No, and it's not for quarterbacks. His average, I think, is in that 35 to 40 mil US, because they're already talking about doing over 40. Like, I think Dax is like 41, and then I think they offered Rodgers like 44. Okay. So, but
I might be thinking in AUDs.
Yeah. So, but they're already talking. That's in a year. That's changed, say, 8 mil. Difference. Mm-hmm. And if that's going to happen every year, then it makes so much sense to lock him in now. Mm-hmm. In the NRL, like, it's $1 million now. In 10 years' time, maybe it's $1.5 million. Yeah, maybe it's 2. Let's give it a shout that the league actually grows.
Yeah.
It improves itself. That's not a huge reason why you do it.
You're not saving
financial.
Yeah.
Yes, it's still money, and yes, it still counts to the club. But I don't think that's such a significant saving that you need to lock someone in for 10 years, considering after 4 years he's cooked.
Yep.
And then you got to buy out some part of his contract or pay him to then go somewhere else, like they've done with Lodge and I think with Panga as well. Like, it's just not worth it to me.
Have you got when he signed his contract there, Mars? I don't feel like it was that long ago.
10-year deal, so it would have been 2017.
2017.
Yeah, so contracted to the end of 2027.
So he must. So let's call that end of 17. So he's given you 18, 19 where he was on fire, and then a little bit hurt and a little bit slowing down in 2021. You've still got 6 years.
Yep.
Where you're paying. You got $6 million riding on JT. Yeah, I don't know if you can justify doing that for big paying Haas. And
plus he's 28. Like 6 more years, he'd be 34 by then.
That's old. For a middle forward. Yeah, and the work that they've got to get through.
So for paying Haas, it probably makes more sense because he's 22.
22.
So if he finishes that 10-year deal, he's 32. Like, that you get, if you get 8 good years out of him to a 30, like you're probably ahead at that point.
Payne is 21. He turns 22 in December. So
so if he signed a 10-year deal from now,
it's too much. I'd be, I don't know, me in my all my experience of running NRL clubs and managing books, and managing books, it just doesn't make sense to offer guys more than 5-6 years.
Everything changes too much.
So there's too many variables.
Just go to show.
Like the rules change week to week. They can change the rules, and then it doesn't make a point for Tamalolo. Like,
that's right. And my team of 5'8" and halfbacks from the Super League is the most dominant team because the rules have changed. So
exactly, like the AFL body type. That's NRL could go there.
We've already spoken about it earlier in earlier eps that the forwards are just getting smaller and smaller to keep up with the pace of the game.
Yeah, just.
So maybe a big bopper like 194 centimetre, let's call him 120 kilo Payne Haas.
Yeah, like we've been talking about, it turns into Oztag, then there's no point to have those boys out there.
It turns into South Park bubble fucking... Watch that shit. It's funny.
Anyway, I think we all picked Penrith in this game, and Penrith by a lot. Marks, do you want to give some quick odds?
And again, we'd be more interested in the line and the 13 plus.
Yeah. So Penrith the favourites, $1.12. Brisbane are out at $6.50. Line is 19.5. Penrith 13 plus is $1.50.
$1.50. That's cash.
That's cash.
That's cash. We're talking about Melbourne before. We've been $1.12 for their 13 plus. I love that there. I love that. No Cleary hurts. Tyrone May's not really a 7, but Luai back and pretty much full steam ahead outside of Cleary. Yeah, I like that $1.15 for them 13 plus.
Yep.
Let's get into Sunday and probably actually two of the closer games in terms of odds. The Dragons play the Gold Coast in the early game up at Seabus Super Stadium. The Dragons, we spoke about them before against Manly. They started well, but they forgot to show up for the second half. Origin Ben Hunt and Origin Tarek Sims are not St. George Dragons. Ben Hunt and St. George Tarek Sims. Granted, playing 2 days after Origin, pretty fucking difficult.
We'll give him a pass this week.
Second game at Tyrell Sloan. He scored early. It looks like they're trying to groom him to be the fullback next year. I think the Cody Ramsey chat about being fullback has gone out the door. And
Dufty, another one that's gone to the Bulldogs.
To the Dogs, yeah. We'll talk about them in just a sec. They're putting together quite a roster for next year. And Gold Coast, on the other hand, they were very disappointing against Para. Fafita and Big Tino, they backed up. They played nearly 60 minutes each.
Actually, Tino didn't. Fafita didn't play for Queensland. which was a huge difference. Well, we didn't talk about it last week,
but he was on the bench, but he didn't play.
No, I don't think he was.
They get picked at all.
He didn't get picked at all for game 3, which may
I must have been on the piss up in Queensland.
Yeah, he didn't play, and shout out to my old man, and he was very much like, I think he's soft.
Oh, come on!
As he runs at little blokes. So like and if there's no Sam Walker in front of you to have an absolute field day against, he just does nothing for you in the front row. In the second row.
He was very quiet in game 1 and game 2 of State of Origin.
Well, you look at some of the games where he's quiet in club games, and it's the ones where they defend him out of the game essentially.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Didn't play
so
State of Origin.
Made a surprisingly big difference, and then Tino had an unreal game. So
yeah.
I don't know.
There you go. That's interesting.
Throw that out there.
And we've spoken about it before on the pod where you notice Fafita close to the line can just go absolutely fucking Kamehameha sometimes, and then other times it's a bit missing. So
depends how big your halfback is.
Yeah, astute observation there from Greg Gould.
There you go.
This is an important game for top 8 implications. So the Dragons are 8 and 9, Gold Coast are 6 and 11. Look, you wouldn't think a 6 and 11 team should be getting spoken about for playing top 8.
I told you.
Playing finals, but...
The first 10 rounds don't matter, bro.
That's right. That's right. So, if with a win there, they go to 7-11. Thanks for coming. And they will be right on the verge of the 8 there.
This is like a 4-point swing for them because the Dragons are there.
Talking about the 4-point game for Canberra against the Sharks.
That really pushes the Dragons down and puts them closer in touch. So it's a huge game for the Titans. Do I see them winning?
They're favourites, I'm pretty sure. And I'm hoping we're into the 7th game of the round. We may have different tips.
I picked Dragons.
I picked the Dragons.
I knew this was going to happen. And then 3 Dragons.
3 Dragons.
3 Dragons.
They're not going to win.
So, and we're all going to tip Cronulla. So, again, hate to hammer the nail home even further. This is a round of NRL football where 8 games and we've all picked the same team.
Yep.
So, they've got to do something about it. Monks, if you wouldn't mind, what are the actual odds?
Yeah.
Gold Coast are quite handsome favourites, I should say. St George will have to have 3 guys missing out from the Vaughan party.
Yep.
Chase up who that is.
Yeah, you do that. So Titans are favourites $1.55. St George are out at $2.45 at the moment. The line is only 4.5. Gold Coast plus 13 is $2.88. Dragons plus 13 is $6.
It's pretty sad. The only game that you want to watch this week is this one. Well, I guess the game we're watching at the moment is a contest. Yeah, and Canberra playing on Thursday night pretty regularly helps us out. But yeah.
No Corey Norman for the Dragons, so he'll be doing his suspension. Jaden Sullivan in for him. Can't pick out who else is missing. Maybe Dan Alvaro. Can't see him. And then one other from the Vaughan party. No, Norman is big, but yeah, maybe tipping with my heart, not my head. I've gone St George there. Moving into the Sunday game, it's a little bit of a snooze fest to cop on a Sunday afternoon. Canterbury started well against South Sydney, and then the Lachlan Lewis fucking brain snap. Cody Walker was mouthing off a little bit. Apparently, it came out, apparently he was only saying should go back to reserve grade.
Yeah, go back to reserve grade. And it was one of the worst hip tosses I've ever seen. He might need to go back to some judo because that was a terrible takedown.
I don't know about Fox League was calling him Lewis McGregor. And
McGregor's never done a takedown in his life.
Fuck me. He's fucking stocky in mud. He's stocky in mud. Anyways,
maybe it was that bad that they made the comparison there.
True.
Maybe they knew more than you thought.
Yeah. Possibly. Lachlan Lewis just got a fine. He will play Sunday. The Sharks went down to the Raiders. Aiden Tolman will cop a week for a high shot on Xavier Savage. Tips here, I've gone the Sharks.
I think all Sharkies.
It's actually closer than you'd think.
I'd say so. As we talk about the Sharkies, well, their season's on the line, really. If they win this game and say the Dragons lose theirs, then they're equal.
Yeah, they're both 8 and 10. Yeah.
Yep. So Sharks are favourites $1.31. Bulldogs are out at $3.50. The line is 10.5.
I'd be tempted to take Canterbury with that line. So next year, we were speaking about it at the start of the pod with Gus Gould at the helm of the Bulldogs. This could be their starting 13. Matt Duffy, Josh Addo-Carr, Brent Naden, Nick Kotrick, Tui Katoa, Matt Burden, Jake Avarillo. Then their forward pack, Luke Thompson, Jeremy Marshall-King, Paul Vaughan. They've got their eyes on him. Raymond Faitala Marina, Tavita Pango Jr., that's confirmed, and Josh Jackson. That's looking like a much more competitive squad. Maybe that...
Interesting to see what happens with, say, Napa, who's been there for a while, what they do with him.
I feel like he might be on the outer.
I think, he's turning up to training hungover probably didn't help his chances, and being on huge money and underperforming also doesn't help his chances. I think Gus...
Poor professional footballers.
Yeah.
I've turned up to training hungover all the time.
It makes you better.
At football, no. At golf, but maybe it's because I'm not used to playing golf, not hungover.
But I think Gus kind of came out and said, we're clearing house.
Yeah.
You've got 8 weeks to, 2 months to prove yourselves for next year.
Yep.
If you want to play for the Bulldogs, you got to come out and perform.
It's now or never. Is Napa starting on the weekend? Let's have a look.
I don't think he's in the. Is he in the squad? I have a feeling
he's not starting.
I have a feeling
he's on the bench.
Coming off the bench.
Yep.
15. So need some good minutes there out of the former Origin player. The Raiders Para game is 12-6, 4 minutes to go. And Para, Mike Acevo, he's confident.
Yeah.
Very confident.
Sammy Williams just missed a field goal from
down the other end. Yeah,
out.
so seven tackle set, I should say.
Rapana's confident, but Shields got him out.
We'll keep an eye on that.
The young fella, first game.
What I wanted to ask you about Canterbury, that side that I just read out to you, which seems fairly likely, do you think that's a top 8 side?
They've got talent. Like it's
I'd say top 8.
You would?
As we've been saying, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I'm gonna say it's not a top 8 side. If it's that there, I think they probably still need another middle forward, and it
depends on their halves,
and maybe another Matt Burden can play 6. We've seen that.
You're
not sold?
I'm not sold just because how Penrith have been doing with him at 6, but then he's in replacement of 2 of the other best guys. But you would have thought with the other talent around them, they'd be a little bit better.
And Avarillo,
he's an unreal centre. Let's be clear.
Sure.
He's automatic as a centre. I was just not sold yet on him at a 5'8". And maybe he's a year or 2 away from being up there in the upper echelon with all the other 5'8s that were the tier 1 as we'd like to talk about. So as I said, not sold yet, but we'll see.
I'm going to say just out of the 8, I don't think they're wooden spooners. I think they might be pushing like a 10th, 11th kind of.
Do you reckon
spot.
that's simultaneous ball and line?
Don't know. It's gonna. They'll
gonna be
look
really
at it 8
close.
times, so we probably better keep moving.
Yeah. That could be a ball game though.
It'll be very close if it's no try. Yeah. Let's go into the AFL.
Yeah, we've spoken about NRL long enough. Let's get stuck into some AFL.
Can you run us through the COVID while I go for a quick wee break, because I get fired up and
you hate the COVID, so
and start blaming state leaders, etc. So
I think
you take that away.
Yeah, well, it came out today. Queensland have slam shut their border in New South Wales, so I think it's all good. All the leagues have moved away from New South Wales, but the big one was South Australia have gone into lockdown for 5 days, which means the 2 Adelaide clubs down there had to work out what they're going to do. They were talking about escaping to Victoria. Then there was chat that they essentially got to the airport, and then they were told, no, go home. Then there was chat that they were going to Queensland. Then there was chat that they would do a showdown, as in the 2 Adelaide teams would have to play each other this week while they try to figure it out. But then eventually they got it sorted out, and then they got back into Victoria. But crazy couple hours for the 2 Adelaide teams trying to work out who they were going to play and where. But they've now addressed that, hopefully. And, those guys are playing, I think. Adelaide have got Geelong this week. No, Collingwood from memory. And
Port's got Collingwood. And
sorry, I said Adelaide. Port, you're right. Port's got Collingwood, and
the Crows have Hawthorn.
Hawthorn, yes.
Yeah.
So, with South Australia going on lockdown, Queensland, I don't think technically are in one. So the whole 3 of the 7 states and territories are in lockdown at the moment. With the others all or preventing them from travelling. Mike Sivo did get that try, so the conversion had tied up. So the rumours, and Peps, you might be able to take us into some of this. There's rumours that Brad Scott, they've reached out to his agent, and he's the front runner for the Pies job, for the Collingwood Pies head coach job.
Yeah, I think it was Caroline Wilson was reporting that during the week. The former Kangaroos coach is the head of AFL Victoria at the moment. He coached the Kangaroos from 2010 to 2019, so a decade at the helm there.
Yeah. Not huge results, but
well, that's what I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
What do you think was his coaching record at the Kangaroos as a percentage?
Slightly under 500.
Slightly under?
Yeah.
Muggs has just seen it, I think.
Yeah.
Nah, you have?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us what it is.
Slightly over.
Slightly over
500.
That's so bad.
And well, given the way that the Kangaroos are playing at the moment, when I first saw that, I thought,
yeah, what are the?
I thought the guy that's the front runner to be the Collingwood football coach is going to be a guy that was like 25%. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So they actually had a run there where I think he made maybe four finals, like 3 in a row, and then like 4 out of 5 years, a few ninths as well. So there or thereabouts. And it's only been the last few years that the Kangas have really dropped off. So
But what you said there though is average.
yeah.
So is that what
Average, yeah.
But is that what Colin was trying to buy?
Well,
here?
as well,
It's-
how much is the coach and how much is the list and
Yeah,
yada, yada, yada.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. Hasn't been coaching for 2 years as well. Does that have an effect on a bloke, going back from an admin role?
Well, there's all the chat that he's, very analytical, very technical. Like he knows the game in and out. So
if he's anything like his brother, he's got a pretty good coaching record. So.
Yes.
Yeah, time will tell. Again, is this just when we say front runner? Is that just to grab a storyline?
Yeah. Well, who leaked this?
Yeah, who knows?
If it's his agent, it's because they're trying to push the deal probably a little bit more. It's like, hey, we're out here. The other guys might blow or pull out, but they're trying to force Collingwood to do something.
Sure.
Or maybe Collingwood did it because they've got someone else on the go.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to get that guy to push along. Like when these stories come out, you gotta work out which sides, what agenda they're trying to push, and what side's doing it.
People push agendas.
Oh, yeah. What do you know?
Anyways, time will tell who gets that role there. But at the moment, Brad Scott's name's getting thrown around. Let's preview round 19. Monks, if you wouldn't mind, if you could possibly get the teams up, we might have to...
Well, Thursday night?
Yeah, you might have to can the Olyroos for a sec.
Bro, they're doing all right, mate.
They're leading, but they'll also be there in half an hour.
We won't have finished the AFL by then, bro.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Well, just hold on. The NRL game's going to finish in a minute. We can switch that over.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
The Olyroos still leading Argentina, one zip.
And it's from what Argentina have been peppering their goal, something's shocking at the moment. So they're doing well to hold in front, and they've got a couple of chances back. But I think Argentina have been trying to control the possession and get a goal back.
Can't get any of that pepper to stick.
Yes.
Port Adelaide, Collingwood, Prison Bar Bowl 2. Has anyone seen anything about prison bars?
No, nothing about it. They're all too busy talking about trying to keep the league going. So,
mate, haven't heard a bar about it.
There you go. There we go.
Well,
you know how we were talking about that draw the other day? Pull that draw out, put that in there,
chuck that in there.
Never bring it out again.
Along with a lot of my other gear.
Yeah, that's not top shelf.
That is bottom shelf. That is dregs. That is Moosehead's floor.
That's bottom drawer.
Port actually got a little bit lucky last week with their win over St Kilda. They won by 2 goals, but there was a lot of turnovers from St Kilda actually that allowed that to happen late in the fourth. Ollie Wines, his great form continues.
No.
That. Okay,
yeah,
so we're watching the Raiders and Para at the moment. Sivo's gone out there, and he's in a world of hurt.
Or either that, or he knows that that could have been it, and I didn't get it.
No,
13 seconds left on the clock. Sivo down the left sideline. Goes over the corner post.
And that's Rapana that got there as well.
Yeah,
he's had a good game.
Fullback, and I think Shields again, the wing. They gave him enough room, but I think they've got there. Sorry to interrupt our AFL. Oh, there's a bit of knee in that.
Is he going to get in trouble?
That's probably right, but...
He's definitely out. Sivo normally from there is automatic.
They're going to go back and look at that. But It's not like he knees him.
I think Rapiner might be in trouble here because what makes contact first?
It's his hip, though. It's like the knee goes past it. They're going to look at it. Like, he doesn't knee. It goes past.
It's
like,
his
he hits him
quad.
hip. It's his quad.
quad.
It's like high quad hip area.
There's not much you can do about that.
Yeah, I'd give him a pass on that one. Like, it's not like he's hit him with the knee, like the point of the knee first. The knee misses.
But there's no arm or shoulder.
Yeah, it's all hip. He's trying to run through him. You have to with Sivo. Like, you got to lie him the fuck
I'm
out.
looking at that. I'm like, what the fuck? Sivo, eats them for breakfast normally.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's a fair challenge.
Yeah. What's Rapana got to tackle there? Like, he can't get any lower than.
I don't know. Be interesting to see. We obviously can't have any commentary coming through, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We were talking about Port Adelaide and Collingwood. So Ollie Wines had 36 possessions and a goal, and Collingwood went down to the mighty Carlton Blues. They actually were leading by 8 points going into three-quarter time. Jordan De Goey ran a bit of a muck through the middle, 31 disposals and 12 marks, but he obviously split his time between forward and the middle, but I just don't know how I feel about it. Like, obviously had a great game, but then you lose one of your best forward targets. And Darcy Cameron's coming along, but he was a bit quiet up front. I think he had a goal and maybe 8 touches. Yeah, I just don't know about pulling Jordan out and playing him for a long time through the middle. Port, I imagine, are handy favourites in this game. I imagine we've all tipped Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
Again,
at home.
A line might be more interesting than a head-to-head there. Monks, give us both if you wouldn't mind.
So head-to-head, Port are favourites are $1.21. Collingwood are out at $4.45. The line is 24.5.
Ooh, I would take that. I like that.
Yeah. Port are, bullies. They like going after the guys lower on the ladder.
Yeah, true.
Where are they playing this? It's not because they had to go to Victoria, as I imagine you were talking about.
Yep.
Marvel. Yep.
Marvel, yeah.
See, actually, that changes things.
True.
That changes things.
Raiders do win that game 12-10.
Raiders win 12-10. Their series is their season even is back.
Back on track. That's 4 straight for that.
Yeah, I think so. So had that win last week.
And that man, Matt Frawley, undefeated.
Hey, Matt Frawley, shout out Canberra boy, has never lost a game
playing for the Raiders.
Raiders, yeah. Played a lot for the Bulldogs, but never lost for the Raiders. Yeah, so they win tonight against Para. They won last week against Cronulla. Won the week before that against Manly, and that's 3 in a row. They got belted by the Titans. That was when everyone was going, okay, that's fucking it. And that was in Canberra. Right, so since then, Ricky's got a firecracker up their ass, and you wouldn't believe it, but they're within a bee's dick of the 8.
I don't.
They're in, actually, as of now, they are in the top 8.
Yeah. Has Jack Whiten played any of those games?
He would have been. Well, he didn't play tonight. He was out one of them for Origin.
Oh, no, he played last week.
He played last week. That's when he got hurt. So he's played one of those games.
Yeah. All right, you can turn that off, Monks. Let's go back to the soccer.
We're done with the Prison Bar Bowl.
Yes, we're talking about the Blues.
Oh, you want to talk about Carlton, do you?
Yeah, you were just saying before.
Let's talk about Carlton. They were down 8 points against Collingwood, and they played a fucking great fourth quarter. Don't often get to say that. Sam Walsh, you can have my babies. I'll freeze my eggs. I'll do whatever you.
Poor Sarah.
I doubt she's listening, especially this deep. But look, if you want to have her babies too, I'm offering them. 39 possessions and a pivotal fourth quarter goal for Sammy. He is definitely an All-Australian this year in my navy blue biased opinion, but I imagine he probably will definitely be in the squad. Whether he makes that final 22 will be interesting. Cripps is named, I think, there, isn't he, for tomorrow? Yep. Cripps in. He was managed last week. So that is huge. And Macca was actually talking about it a few weeks on the pod. He said he did a ladder predictor and had them finishing 8th.
Got a good run home.
The finals hype is building. I did a ladder predictor on the weekend, and it wasn't so much I think Carlton can easily win 4 of these last 5 games. It's not so much Carlton. It's more, I think Richmond have got a really good run home. The Bombers' run home isn't bad. So they're going to need some other results. They've got to win at least 4 and preferably win out.
Yep.
They play the Kangas, and then they've got the Saints, Suns, Port, and GWS. So particularly important games there against GWS and St Kilda, who also will be vying for a finals spot there.
And Port will be a challenge.
Port will be a challenge, but from what we've seen, yeah.
So if they're ahead of them on the ladder, then yeah, they'll win.
Well, they're actually, yeah, from what we've seen, yeah, that's right. They'll put them away because they're flat track bullies. I wouldn't look. Let's not get ahead of ourselves too much, but there is a chance that they might be able to sneak into the 8. The main thing is they've got to beat the Kangaroos first, because if they drop this game, then they're fucked. Like, to put it delicately. And North have been better. They were competitive against the Bombers. They only went down by 3 goals. They've been the back end of this season. North has been much better than the front end of this season. North. Aaron Hall, his career resurgence continues with 31 possessions, 14 marks last week against the Bombers. Marks, if you wouldn't mind the odds here, I imagine Carlton are quite healthy favourites. Has everyone tipped the Blues?
I have, I think, to help put a curse on them for you.
Yep.
$1.47. That's cash.
Yeah.
$1.47.
$1.47. There you go. Roos are out at $2.69.
Nice.
And line is 12.5.
I'm taking that all day, every day, even with my navy blue glasses on.
Before you continue, the old man just messaged me saying we're back, baby.
Yeah,
Big Raiders fan down in Cornwall. So
I was going to ask, have you
he
jumped
was
back on
slagging the fuck out of him 3 weeks ago too.
100%. He definitely was.
It runs in the family. The short-term memory, it runs in the family. I have to start calling you Dory. Finding Nemo shout out. Fucking, you got a memory like a goldfish.
What movie is that?
Finding Nemo, Dory. Ellen DeGeneres.
He doesn't get the joke.
There we go. Yeah.
What movie is that?
I'm with you. Let's talk about Q Clash 21. The Brisbane Lions take on the Gold Coast Suns up at the Gabba. I think Brisbane's got the last 5.
Absolutely pumped him the
Q
last
clashes,
one.
Yeah, 75 points,
Yes.
something along those lines. Hugh McLuggage continues his great form. He had 30 and a goal in a losing side against Richmond. Did you catch much of this game?
I did catch some of this in the background, and it's kind of interesting. Like Mick Luggage and Lions both getting their touches. I think Lachie Neale's probably a bit underdone. Just something through the middle at the moment is just not clicking, and that's kind of where they've been losing their matches at the moment.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, didn't help with no hit wood, but they just can't seem to get the ball out of the middle and get it into the forward line, get the inside 50s.
Yeah.
So, and that they've been struggling with that. So, what have they lost 3 straight or something? They lost last week, and I think they lost the week before.
Yeah, I feel like it might be 2.
Just two straight. Yeah.
So lost to Richmond, pardon me, and lost to St Kilda.
Yeah.
And then the week before that, handily put away.
Yeah, and like
Adelaide.
a big loss to Richmond as well. Like
The way Richmond have been playing.
Yeah, exactly. They're coming off. They hadn't won in a month, and then they come and just smoke them, and really, dominated kind of that middle section and got their ball forward a lot more. So I don't know. There's whether it's just they're a bit light on, like it's McLuggage Lions, and they're a bit light on around with extra support for him. Lachie Neale, had to miss training during the week because I think he landed on his shoulder and tweaked it a little bit. But then he's fine and should play, but like he's banged up.
Yeah,
so,
he's busted, isn't he?
Yeah,
Isn't he?
And I don't know, they're just missing something at the moment. Maybe a little bit of extra fresh legs that can help support these guys.
And you mentioned Hipwood. That is Matt. He's a really underrated key tall. So you take him out, and luckily they've got Joe Danaher this year, because you take Hipwood out last year, and then they've really got no key targets up there. So
they're really looking for McStay kind of to step up and fill that role, but I just don't think he's really got to that point yet. But we'll see.
McStay's not that. He's not as big as those other two, is he?
He's tall, but he's not as.
Well, he's 195, 98
he's got
kilos.
good size to him,
Got him,
but
listed as there. So it's, big enough.
Monks has just pointed out that Jared's actually back in the squad, which might be a good get in that middle field. But
you're talking about needing a little bit more support through the middle. But
I will say that game he played 2 weeks ago, he was just there in the picture. Like
Cooked, was he?
Yeah, like he was there as a distraction more than getting in there and getting touches. So one, he's got to get fitness, he's got to get back into the squad and etc. But yeah, he's I'm not sure. He probably won't get huge. He didn't get huge minutes in that game either. So that was the other part of it.
Yeah,
like they'll try to definitely rotate him, try to get him back in there, building him, getting good for the finals run. But yeah, his little brother misses out though as the medical sub.
Always a medical sub, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, they had a medical sub for Hipwood 2 weeks ago, but it was Matheson was the bloody medical sub. There's the 1 week that Tom wasn't the medical sub. Right. he misses out.
And TJ, going to be
unlucky brother.
Going to be the 23rd man there again. Speaking of a guy who's been pretty good with avoiding injury is Hugh McLuggage. He is playing his 100th game. He's only 23 years of age. Shout out to you, Hugh. What do we think here, lads? I think Gold Coast have been trending in the right direction. Took Miller is
playing better.
He's unreal. He had 38 possessions.
Not just Miller, sorry, the Suns.
Suns are playing better. Yeah, Took's been unbelievable. The All-Australian hype around him is real. I don't think they win this game. I think it's a much better contest than the last Q Clash.
Yeah, Brisbane at home, they really need to have a show game, come out, build some confidence because they need it. Otherwise, they might be in trouble.
You on the lines too?
Yeah, I back the lines, of course.
Yep, yeah. I think it's 3 lines here. So Brisbane are favourites $1.21. The Suns are out at $4.45. And the line is 27.5.
Still a bit, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, I just don't know.
I don't know with the lines at the moment.
Yeah, I really thought the last few weeks they should have won those games, but we'll see. We'll see. Before that, they were on an absolute heater. Yeah. So see what happens. A few weeks is a long time in the AFL. Mm-hmm. West Coast Eagles take on St Kilda over at Optus Stadium, 4:30 Saturday afternoon.
Is this an Optus?
Yes, I think so. Unless McGowan's. No, don't throw that. You nearly got me. You got a nibble then. You got a nibble.
See if you can confirm that for us, Marks, where that game is going to be at.
Unless anything's happened in the last 2 hours, I'm sure it is named.
Anyway, keep going. He can find it.
It's an Optus.
It's still Optus, yeah.
Oh, good.
I
just wondered if they'd let those dirty Victorians across into West Australia, knowing what they're like.
You say Victorian Annas? Victorians?
Victorians, yeah.
There's definitely a syllable on there that didn't need it. Jamie Cripps had a career game last week. He kicked 5 goals and had 25 posies and 3 snags for BT's favourite Flannery. West Coast looking a bit better. They were only playing the mighty Crom.
Yes.
And St Kilda, we mentioned it before, they were really close to knocking off Port last week. There's those few late turnovers that hurt them. Jack Steele, 37 possessions, 8 marks, 7 tackles and a goal. Every fucking midfielder that's playing out of their skin, I'm saying all Australian hype, but he'll definitely be in the conversation too. His partner in crime, Matt Crouch, was pretty good. This is a massive game for both teams. So the Wiggles are 7th on 36 premiership points. The Saints are 11th, but they're the bottom of the teams on 32 points in the Dons, Tigers and Dockers. A few big ins for West Coast there with Josh Kennedy coming back, Jake Waterman back in the side. He's come along quite well. He'll be pretty much a straight swap for Pretricelli, I'd imagine. Luke Shuey goes out. I don't know. Maybe those ins cancel out the outs or vice versa. Massive task for St Kilda to go over there and get a win at Optus Stadium. I've tipped the West Coast Eagles. I think over there it's a very different story.
Same here.
And this is really must win for St Kilda. So that they'll be stinging after last week, going very close to knocking off Port. Can they resurrect it here, Monks, do you think?
Yeah, I've gone West Coast as well.
Odds in line?
Yep. So odds are West Coast are favourites. They are at $1.41. St Kilda out at $2.94. Line is 15.5.
I'm probably taking that, I'd imagine. Anyways, we move forward into Saturday night, the game of the round.
Big
top of the table clash. Melbourne Demons take on...
Played this game twice and no fans.
Bulldogs. Yeah, well, this will be the second time and with no fans.
Yeah, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
It doesn't really count. If they win, it doesn't count.
If our deep-voiced balded friend was here, he would say it doesn't count until maybe the Western Bulldogs win this, and then I'm sure it does count. So I wanted to ask you a would you rather. Let's picture that we've. Oh my god! Oh, put it in. Oh my
that's
god!
a save.
The Ollie Roos nearly just went 2-0 up over Argentina.
Some of the challenges in this game from the Argentinians have been a bit over the top.
They play different football to
Yeah,
South American football is very different to European football. So what? Back to our would you rather. So picture you're in year 7. There's a few, cute girls getting around. You're in year 7, so and nothing untoward there. We're playing would you rather.
Thanks for the clarification.
Would you rather be the Melbourne Demons and keep dropping games to shit teams, or would you rather be Port Adelaide, who always put away the shit teams but can't beat a good team?
Well, you want to be the D's because come final time, you'd be beating those teams to get yourself through there. I guess, but if you're 1 and you lose to 8, good question.
Well, they're 1 and they've lost to the Crows, the Pies, and the Giants, who are all outside of the 8, and the Crows and Pies are quite low. And on the weekend they drew with Hawthorn, so they've dropped heaps of points. Is it just
is this a fake stat considering they're the top team, so every team's below them?
Well,
so if they lose a game, it's below them.
Well, it's not fake. I'm saying all 4 of those teams are lowly. What have we got? The ladder there.
Low tier, so they're the bottom 8.
The Giants are 12th. Collingwood are 15th, Adelaide 16th, and Hawthorn are 17th.
Yes.
So, and they're dropping
losing
points
to teams outside of the 8.
Yeah.
And outside.
Yeah.
To me, that's more a coaching problem than a player problem.
A coaching thing?
Yeah.
Problem or like that to me sounds like game management.
That to me sounds like a player thing going, who gives a fuck? It's just Hawthorn.
Yeah, but that's on the coach. That's on the coach that get him, Jerry, get him G'd up, get him ready, get the game plan sorted. Like, that's 100% on the coach and the coach management to get the team ready for that. That's why the great coaches, it's one game at a time. You got to go out there and win everyone.
Hate to cross codes, but Melbourne Storm come to mind.
Yeah,
you don't see them dropping 4
exactly
games,
like a Craig Bellamy or Wayne Bennett team. Like they're constantly going to be up for a game, and they're going to lose some, but they're going to be competitive in those games. It's not where they just switch off, and that's usually a team switches off because they've had a poor week of training. The game plan, like it's not the same week they usually have. Like this week for the Western Bulldogs, they're in there watching every game they've played for the last month. They're breaking down the film, they're doing all that stuff. And then next week for North Melbourne, they're like, oh yeah, let's go just kick goals for the next hour, do some goal practice. Like it's just that's coaching. That's the week of training. Like for me, that very much gets put on that coaching stuff to get them ready for that game. If they're not prepared and they're underprepared, it's 100% on them.
Does it matter though? As long as your players aren't getting injured, do those losses matter?
It doesn't matter now, but if they were like trying to get a top 2 spot or a top 4 spot and they drop a couple games against teams they should have won, it matters.
Well, they should. They're definitely top 4. But you're right. Maybe they might have cost themselves a home final, given that they are 2 points clear of the Dogs.
Home finals probably don't matter at the moment. Depending on where they.
Well, that's another point there.
Yeah.
But that's in a normal kind of season. That's the kind of things you're trying to play for. Like, that might mean they're not the minor premiers. Like they don't win. They don't get the top spot.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to say I'd rather be Port Adelaide. They've been clinical. They're in 4th now. So literally the only teams above them that they haven't beat are Geelong, the Dogs, and Melbourne. They probably are thinking if we can put it all together on our day, we can beat anyone. Whereas maybe Simon Goodwin and the D's are going, oh, well, we've played some really good football and we're playing the best that we've played really in recent memory, but we've been found out by some lower teams. And I'm sure your Luke Beveridges and your Chris Scotts and your Chris Fagans are watching those games on tape where teams with lists that have no right to beat them have done so, and they've taken notes and going, okay, well, this is how we play the D's when we come up against them in a final.
And what did you just say there? Coaching and game plan.
I was essentially echoing your point. Yeah. All right, we've maybe spent a little bit too long on would you rather.
Yeah,
but
run us through some stats and then let's get some tips.
Well, you look at Melbourne's stat line last week, and it was pretty much any Melbourne game. Oliver and Petrarca had 35 each. Bailey Fritsch is really developing as a really good small forward. He had 3 goals there, and the Dogs just snuck home over a much improved Gold Coast. Jamara Ugle-Hagan, number 1 draft pick in his second game, booted 3. Good to see him.
Did they play Gold Coast or Sydney?
They played Gold Coast and they played Sydney the week before, did they not?
Okay, yep.
And Marcus Bontempelli, 36 disposals. He is still at $2.50 for Charlie, the Brownlow medal. I think that possibly could have gone in a little bit, but we'll see what happens there. This would be interesting. Who we're going? I've gone the Western Bulldogs.
As have I. Back in the Macca.
I've gone D's.
There we go.
Finally, we split them up.
Finally won. Yeah.
So what are we? 2 hours in.
Yep.
2 hours in. And that's no fault of the AFLs, let's be honest.
No.
Let's be honest. And
That's
the fact
ours.
that we had 2 Dragons fans sitting here for that
Yeah.
probably didn't help either. But we've actually disagreed with each other 2 hours in. There you go. You've actually gone the favourites there, mate.
I have gone the favourites. Very close, though. So the D's are $1.84. Bulldogs are out at $2 flat. The line, if you give me a second.
2.5.
2.5.
Always going to be close there, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be.
That's
Hopefully it's a cracking game. It really sucks that this is in front of no fans because top
for
of
the
the
second
For the
time,
second time.
yeah, that's right. And then a real bragging rights as well. Melbourne coming away with the win the first time they played. If Melbourne beat them twice, then they'll really have a lot of confidence going into the finals. Somewhat less interesting game, let's be honest. At
It's a crumb. What are you talking about?
7:40. It is the mighty crumb, 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 going up against the Hawthorn Hawks at Marvel Stadium. The Crom, they played a really good first half against the Eagles, and they've kind of forgot to show up in the second. Rory Laird, always good, 34 touches and 8 marks. And the form of Ben Keys just keeps improving. He had 30 possessions, 6 marks, 6
All
touches,
Australian.
2 sausage rolls. No. I'm finally going to say no. I'm loving what Ben Keys is doing. He's a big-bodied inside midfielder who's we've spoken about before on the Esky, essentially got shafted from a couple clubs and has had a real resurgence in his career this year, and probably started doing it last year, but this year has come into his own. I'm going to say no. Maybe he makes that 40-man squad, but he's not in the best 22 players in the AFL. I'm sorry, Ben Keys. You are a very good player, though. Hawthorn managed to get that draw against Melbourne.
First draw of the season?
No, there was another one. It was North Melbourne and GWS. Remember that fella just had to kick a point and he put it out of bounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just when you need a point.
Just when you need a handy point. I can't blame him. I would have fucking... whatever he shanked, I would have...
Yeah. His ball at least went forward, so...
It hit his foot.
yeah.
He was touching it in the first place. He put himself in the position to try and win the game-winning point. Tom Mitchell, 39 posies and a goal. He's starting to look a little bit like Brownlow, Tom Mitchell. I'm not saying he wins the Brownlow. I'm saying he will shit in the Peter Crimmins medal. That's Hawthorn's best and fairest. And shout out to Temora boy Luke Bruce with 3 goals there. One of the better medium-sized forwards for a number of years now. This as well, we might tip differently. I have gone Adelaide. I have no confidence with that tip, and I imagine they're outsiders, but yeah. Oh, and
What a goal.
Ollie Roos go up 2-0 against Argentina. That was
Both teams just subbed
a
on
rocket.
three guys, so they're just resetting themselves. And
the Argentines are not happy here. I'm trying to see a number. Was that Daniel Arzani?
No, because I think they might have just subbed one of the...
We are watching this on a quarter screen. Quarter screen. Fucking
what a show.
Top left. Yeah. Who's 19 for the Ollie Roos? There you go. You can work. Actually, you've got the odds. You let us know the odds.
All right. What's your tip, Sean, first?
I picked the Crom, purely the Crom, but I actually think Hawthorn might win this game.
Jeez. I picked the Crom as well.
Get out of each other's heads, dudes.
So Hawthorn are favourites $1.59. Adelaide is $2.37. The line is 8.5.
Marco Tilio, 19-year-old from Melbourne City. There you go. All that A-League we watched is
Paid off.
paid dividends there. Fucking great strike. Good on the young fella there. Born 2001.
That's huge. That's huge. Well, we'll talk about this later. That's huge for our group and with Argentina in there.
2001. I was old enough to have a Hillary Swank in 2001. Okay, let's go. Let's keep it moving. Now these, because the notes are a little bit out here due to the Coco. I'll just get the order of these games. So Sydney and Fremantle are first, if you wouldn't mind getting that up. They're the first of the Sunday games, 12:30 Metricom. Freo were pretty disappointing last week in their loss to the Geelong Cats. On a bright side, Sean Darcy is really emerging as one of the premier ruckmen in the league. I think he's only 23. He had 18 disposals, 37 hitouts last week. He is a brick shithouse. So
big lad.
Good to see him coming along. And the Swans were 26-point winners in the COVID Bowl against the Giants. That was that game where a bunch of guys got dragged within under 2 hours.
Yeah, the rugby COVID Bowl.
That's right. Most notably, Toby Green.
Yep.
Luke Parker is looking pretty ageless. I think he's only about 29 anyway. He had 31 in a sausage roll.
Speaking about ageless.
Ageless. Fucking buddy. He kicked 4. The thousand talks. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
This season, yeah.
981 career goals, so he needs 19 for the 1,000. I'm talking this season. Of course, he is contracted next year. He undoubtedly kicks.
He'll get there.
He'll kick,
That's just whether he'll do it this year or not.
goals. Will he be able to do it this year? There's 5 games left for the Swans, so that's just a tick under 4 goals a game. So that's 4 regular season games plus a first round final, which they're guaranteed of playing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes.
So they count stats through playoffs?
Yep.
Some comps do.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. So he's guaranteed 5 games. My concern is he doesn't play all 5.
Yeah, they might rest him.
Yeah, and especially if they get to a point.
Where are they at the moment?
They're 6th, aren't they?
It might really depend if they win this game.
Yeah, it might.
Yep, they're sitting at 6th.
So they're 6th. They're 44 points. They're 8 points clear of West Coast. So you'd imagine that they don't finish below 6th. They're also tied with Brisbane there. So it could get to a point where...
Can they push in the top 4?
Yes, they can.
Yep.
Yeah, actually not that unlikely. Port are 48, so they're 4 points clear, but then Geelong are 2 games clear on 52.
Same thing really gain them if they make it in the 4?
Yeah, of course. You get a second. You finish 5th, you can still, or 5th or 6th, you can get knocked out first week, whereas 4th you can't. So.
Yeah, so it's whether they push for that or not, which could very much depend on this game.
Yeah,
or this round.
Yep.
So they've got the Dockers this week, then Essendon, St Kilda, North, Suns.
They've got a good run home.
And that's 5. So they're guaranteed to play 6. 6. So because they'll play first week of finals anyway.
Yep.
So that does make it a little bit different. Again, he only needs 3 and a bit a game.
Yeah, and those 5 teams, you'd see Buddy scoring some goals against those
Imagine
guys.
you go, just get him up, get him up and about for North and he goes and kicks 8 or something. Or Josh Bruce in the year did kick 10.
So Port sitting at 4th. Their run home is, so obviously Collingwood this week, Giants, Crom, Carlton and Dogs.
They lose the last 2 games there, I think.
Yeah.
Slightly facetious. Where did we get to? Yeah, Buddy. Pitch invasion if he kicks 1,000? Well, there might not be anyone.
That point. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be anyone if he kicks 1,000. Let's hope. In a month, let's hope there's... unlikely.
In 2021, we're not
doubtful.
as fun as we used to be. Obviously, alluding to the day that Tony Lockett kicked 1,000 goals, there was over 1,000 people storming the ground to go congratulate him. We do live in a different era.
How interesting is it for two to get over 1,000, both Swans, or played for Swans?
Well, but he's... So can you bring up goal scorers? So Jason Dunstall kicked 1,200 and something, and Gordon Coventry kicked over 1,000 as well.
I'm not saying he's the only one, but this is like out of a small group.
And Doug Wade. Doug Wade kicked 10.57. What about Ablett Senior? 10.31. So he's actually 6. So, yeah, I guess 2 Swans guys, but there's also 2 Geelong guys.
Yeah, true.
There. Food for thought.
So what are we doing in this game? I've backed backed Sydney, of course.
Yeah, I've gone the Swans here. I think they're doing everything right at the right time.
Freo are not bad, actually. They've been better. I think this will be a good game of footy.
No.
There's a couple of games like on their day they've been good.
Yeah,
they're not St Kilda risk where they're just up and down.
Up and down, up and down, up and down. Yeah.
But they're consistently solid. We're like above average kind of team that, if you're off your day, they're going to beat you. But I pick Sydney for a reason because I think they're going to be better than them. But I'm just saying, I'm liking some of the stuff that Freya's been doing.
You know, Tom Hawkins kicked more goals than Fremantle did last week in the West.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I think the Swans win this pretty comfortably.
Yep.
Yeah, I've gone Swans as well.
Odds?
Yep, their favourites $1.30. Fremantle are out at $3.57. The line is 20.5.
Moving forward, I'll just double check the latest on the COVID. Round 19. The 320 game is the grand final rematch number 2 between Geelong and Richmond. Just wouldn't mind scrolling those notes up there, monks. Geelong, other way.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so they actually played each other in round 8, and Geelong won that very easily. They're coming off a big win against Fremantle. Tom Hawkins, we just spoke about him. He booted 4. Yep. He has 40 goals in 10 consecutive seasons. So the only other guys we're actually just talking about, a bunch of them that have done that. So Plugger actually never did that because he was riddled by injury and suspension in a few of his seasons. But yeah, Chief Dunstall, Gordon Coventry, Doug Wade, and also Jack Titus and Stephen Kernahan. 6 Kernahan. So pretty elite company there for the Tomahawk. Cam Guthrie. No, I'm not going to say it. All Australian. 35 possessions last week.
I think Guthrie will be. So
I feel like he should be. And
he's been elite.
Another guy who could be Danger. He had 22 and 3 goals last week against Fremantle. And the Tigers, we spoke about him before, had a massive win against the Lions, but it came at a big cost. Dustin Martin is out for the season with a kidney injury.
Yeah, lacerated kidney. You don't like those.
Big. I say big. He felt it initially, and he dropped early after that big contest with Mitch Robinson. It didn't seem like there was much in it, but it obviously just got him flush, and kidney just sits below that bottom rib on the back, and it's very vulnerable from any kind of knees or elbows that come from behind. So the game's lost a superstar for the rest of the year. We wish Dustin all the best in his recovery. And Cam McIntosh also is out for 3 to 4 weeks with a hammy. The Tigers are pretty beat up. So Basha Hooley, Dion Pressia, Nick Vloston, to name a few, on the sidelines. Not who you want out. Coming into the thick of it at the end of the year.
Especially when you need to win games to make finals.
Yeah, for sure. And coming up against Geelong, it's going to be a tall order for the Tigers that remain. I'll tell you who was good last week, Marbia Chol. He kicked 4 sausage rolls. And Jack Rewalt, 6 goals in his 300th game. How good. Legend of the Richmond Footy Club, and really a legend of modern football. So good on you, Jack. I imagine we all got Geelong here.
Yeah, big Geelong.
Yeah, I've gone the Cats. Yep. Great win last week, but the Cats look like they're heading up at the right time.
Without Dusty. Just don't think they... It's not going to be their year, unfortunately.
Yeah, we were talking about it a few weeks ago when they were really stinking it up. That maybe it is an end of an empire.
Just got a little amongst the last game was GWS taking on Essendon.
Yeah, and did you get we didn't get the odds on that game.
Sorry,
I imagine Geelong are pretty handy favourites.
Yeah, so their favourites $1.37. Richmond are out at $3.14.
That line, I'm eating that line up for breakfast.
You like that line?
Yeah.
That line is 16.5. So the run home for Richmond is Cats, Dockers, North, Giants, Hawks.
So that's what I was talking about as a Carlton fan. You look at that and you go, okay, well, they probably cop an L this week at Geelong, but then they finish Freo, North, GWS, Hawthorn.
Yeah, get 4 wins.
They could. They literally could, even without Dusty. So, yeah, don't write them off just yet.
No. I think they make finals, but they're one of those teams that maybe they sneak in and then they get bounced out.
Oh, they're not winning flags this year.
No, we're not with this list.
No, and not without a triple Norm Smith medalist.
So last game, as I mentioned before, Essendon Bombers taking on the Giants, GWS.
Yeah. Well, we spoke about how you just need to look at a Melbourne team sheet and see that Oliver and Petrarca went nuts. You can just look at a Bombers team sheet, and Zach Merritt and Darcy Parish always have plenty. So Zach Merritt had 39 and Darcy Parish had 34. Big news this week with the package. Jake Stringer re-signing for 3 years. For 3 years.
Yep.
Booted 4 last week against North. And the Giants went down to the Swans in the COVID Bowl. There was some blokes that had to play that game on an hour's warning. Pretty hard to get yourself ready physically and mentally after that. And I think a few of them might have played in the Rezzies the day before.
Yeah.
They weren't winning.
Not really. Well, Sydney had to miss a few guys as well. They also, I can't remember off the top of my head who didn't play for Sydney, but it wasn't Toby Green and Matt DeBoer. So those were 2 of the 3 blokes missing for GWS. Tim Torano was probably the best of the Giants. Nothing really to write home about with 27 and 7 tackles. Again, massive game here for finals implications. Who have we got, boys? I've gone the Bombers. I think they've been heating up quite nicely at the right time of the year.
Have done the same. I think the Bombers, with their squad and the way they've been playing lately, I think they do it over GWS.
Yep. I've gone Bombers.
The Bombers fan should probably go for Bombers.
He does like to be a little bit of a Judas.
A little bit. But no, you're right. They are heating up. So definitely back them in for this one. They are favourites $1.62. GWS are out at $2.31, and the line is 7.5. So it's still gonna be a close game.
Yeah, they reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, really like I've mentioned it before, but some of the work that we've seen out of the young Bombers in Sam Draper and Nick Cox and Hind off half back, they're looking really good.
They like to play attacking footy, so they're good to watch.
Yeah, 3rd or 4th highest scoring team in the comp, so that'll do it.
That'll wrap up AFL for this week, and I think the next thing we got off the ranks is to talk about the NBA finals with the Bucks winning 4 straight after we
put on a curse. We're so sorry, Phoenix.
big time curse from us here. Bucks, they win 4-2. The Deer District had 70,000 there.
Yeah.
Bucks and plenty of Bucks and 6 chance.
How good were they? Bucks in 6.
Yeah.
Bucks in 6. 70,000 people outside of Fiserv Forum there screaming that. And there was no social distancing happening there.
Not at all. Shoulder to shoulder.
Oh, yeah. They were crammed in. I tell you what, though, we got actually a real treat in terms of the contest here in Game 6.
Game.
The first quarter was a fucking scrap. How many points, Monks, if you don't mind just bringing up the box score now, how many points did Phoenix score in that first quarter? It must have been about 15 or something.
Have a look.
It'd be low.
I think you got the team stats there, don't you? Anyways, I'll chase that up. It fucking wasn't many. It wasn't many. It was
so Phoenix got 16.
16.
Yeah.
And it was a scrap. There was turnovers going back and forth. They held
Couldn't get buckets.
Devin Booker to 2 points. And then in the second quarter, it was all Phoenix. And we saw this in Game 5, except it was the other way around. But it was one team dominating the first quarter and one team dominating the second quarter.
Yep.
And in this second quarter for the Bucks, blokes not named Giannis Antetokounmpo missed 17 of 18 shots. They got 2 points outside of the Greek Freak in the second quarter.
Yep.
And it was pretty much the tale of the night in that Giannis,
that's fucking close.
Giannis, he put this Bucks team on his shoulders and just carried them to a championship.
Well, I think of his 50, we'll get to his points in a second. His stats, of his 50 points, I think he scored 30, 33 in the second half.
And you know what the big thing was? He scored 15 from the line.
Yeah.
He went 15 of 17. Mm-hmm. They win this game by, 8 points?
Yes. Or maybe slightly under that. Very close.
7 points.
7 points, sorry. Yep.
They win this game by 7 points. Giannis, not known for his abilities from the line.
They were at home for this, weren't they?
They were at home.
It helps when you don't have the Phoenix Suns guys counting you down. From 10. So
definitely. That does help. But if he goes his normal sort of 52% to 60, they lose this game. Like his effort from the line single-handedly won this. Well, he single-handedly won the game, and his effort from the line was a big part of that. Mm-hmm. Put up 50 points, 14 boards, 2 assists, 5 blocks. You got to take that into account as well. Let's say all of those.
That's both ends. That's defense.
That's exactly. Let's say all of those are going in. That's 10 points from the other end.
Yep.
And it was one of the most dominant performances in a finals game, if not any game, that I'd ever seen. Sitting at home, I watched the whole thing. I was lucky enough to do that midweek here in Australia, and I was just in awe of the bloke. Like you always are.
Yeah.
But to be able to turn it on like that in game 6 when the pressure's on and the rest of the team, to be honest, was playing pretty ordinary.
Yeah, considering his knee, less than a month ago. And
we were watching that. Going,
season done.
This could be his season and the Bucks season done.
They call him the Greek Freak for a reason.
Yeah, for a reason. And you love to see it because all the old screenshots of Twitter posts, from 2014 and
especially the ones from Kobe,
2015, Kobe saying, "Go, you've got
the MVP,
got yourself an MVP, go get yourself a ring," and the old tweets from Giannis himself saying, I'm happy to be a part of this team. Let's get a championship. Let's bring it to Milwaukee.
Yeah, I'm not leaving Milwaukee.
I'm not leaving.
A playoff caliber team.
And those tweets been from 6 years ago,
or further,
Yeah, when was he drafted? 2014?
2013, I think, from memory.
13? And we spoke about it before, that the pictures of him, when he's an 18, 19-year-old.
They blow up.
Yeah, and he's just this lanky kind of baby-faced dude.
Oh, big-time baby-face.
And now he's one of the most impressive physical specimens in
Adonis,
the world.
as you said before.
In the world, a Greek Adonis, yeah. He was drafted 2013, right you are.
Yep.
Right, you are, and was said from a very early stage that he wanted to stay in Milwaukee and have them build around him.
Yeah, and we said it last week, and I think he said it in the post match. It's like, I could go to a super team, like we could create one
at KD.
Yeah, exactly. But we did the fucking hard way. So. Yeah, exactly. We built a team, we built the roster, we added the pieces we needed to, and we grew together. Milton's been there
the whole time. The whole time Giannis has been there, Middleton's been there. That guy that they brought in was Drew Holiday.
Yes.
And Frank the Tank Kaminsky. Big effort from Frank the Tank. But yeah, you like to see it, and an aging guy like Brook Lopez to get it. Speaking of aging guys, you feel for Chris Paul missing out.
He's already said he's coming back next year. So.
And look,
there's chat though that the Lakers want him.
Fuck off. Fuck off.
I think the Lakers want everyone that's like a superstar.
And it's such a. We've said it the whole playoffs. Yeah. It's such a cool year for neutral viewers in the NBA to see the Suns and Bucks and to see the Hawks go on that run and to see the Jazz and the Nuggets in the West. Sure, they didn't make the conference finals, but the way that they went about their business in the regular season and getting through the first week of the finals, first week of the playoffs, I should say.
Yep.
It's been cool. It's been cool for the NBA. You've got the people in Milwaukee. I'm sure they still haven't stopped partying. They love it. They love a beer up there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about Frank the Tank?
He plays for the Suns.
Have you fucked this person?
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, he does too.
What? So do we go from Milwaukee to the Suns?
Did I do a Charles Barkley?
You've been talking about Frank the Tank all night, and no, he doesn't play with them.
Oh no!
Oh, that is.
He plays with the Suns.
The bombshell. We've been absolutely rocked here. 2 hours in.
Oh shit! We're gonna have to edit. We're having to do an edit.
But that's gonna stay in, Babs.
Well, that's a skull.
Yeah,
That's a skull.
that's almost as bad. That's
Charles
worse.
Barkley.
That's worse than 25%. Like, come on.
That's Charles Barkley. That's fucking Jeff Teague. I forgot which team he was playing for. Didn't he get cut?
You watched the game during the week.
Did he play? How many minutes did he play, Monks?
About 11 minutes. We gotta delete this shit.
Oh no, this is so good. This is
That's a
stayed
skull. I just opened this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry to put you out like that.
You have to. You had a fact check.
That's payback. You called him out 25%. He's just like, I've gone back and I ruined your whole career.
The problem is this is 2.5 hours deep.
And I started the episode like that. Oh well, you got to copy L's. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? Sometimes you can fucking make a huge mistake, even if it is a massive mistake like that. I shouldn't have rushed that fucking shout of beer. Well, I'm going to shout myself one. Thank you, Frank the Tank. You fucking
Who didn't win a ring, and yes. I don't know where we'll go to from here.
Yeah, well, cover me for 8 seconds. I really struggled with necking them out of the can too.
So yes,
what were we up to?
yes, Bucks win.
Yeah.
Get a good win out of it. Well, get the championship. It's their first since 93.
They're first in 71.
71, sorry. 93 was the Suns. Yeah, well, I'm getting confused now. You're rubbing off on me. Aaron Rodgers now has 2 championships, NBA and Super Bowl champions, of course, as the minority owner. Big shout out to Aaron Rodgers. We'll get to him in a minute. But, congrats. Like we said throughout this, you couldn't pick, like either team was good for a win in this.
You want both teams.
We had
Frank the Tank.
Yeah, we had no Brooklyn Nets left
How do you
over.
call both
so-
ways then?
This is the most embarrassing moment in my podcast career. And there's been a few.
Yeah. Is it worse than Ray Lewis and Ed Reed playing on the same?
That was me off the top of my head trying to remember something from 14 years ago. This is from this morning. From yesterday.
From yesterday, yeah.
From yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to apologise to?
Who?
The listeners. The listeners. I've done you a disservice.
They're all clicking off at the moment. It's all good. Do you want to hit us up with the final point that's there?
Yes.
That'll close us out.
3 guys, well, before yesterday, 2 guys had won the league MVP, the defensive player of the year, and a finals MVP. Now, granted, these guys did it in the same year, but they now get joined by the Greek Freak. Pretty good company. Hakeem the Dream, Olajuwon, and Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Not bad.
Did you see Giannis take both trophies to Chick-fil-A and try to order 50 nuggets to represent him?
Whilst he was Instagram living to 150,000 people. Hilarious. He's so cool. Much better than Frank Kaminsky.
Living the dream.
Fucked me up big time.
I think we'll move on from the NBA. Shout out to Milwaukee. Great win in that. We'll finish up with them in the NBA. I just want to mention the soccer, the Australian team has won. I think the final score was 2-0.
2-0. That's huge.
That's huge for our group.
And also Spain and Egypt drew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we are ahead. We're top of the group there.
Top of the group now. Yep.
UFC.
Yes. So we're going to UFC, and we talked very, very briefly about it. Corey Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw. That is coming up this weekend. It's been 2 years since TJ has had a fight. Sandhagen, the Sandman, is ranked second in the division, coming off wins, of course, that huge knockout on Frankie Anger, and then also a spinning kick knockout on Miranda's as well. So big fight for TJ coming back. 2 years layoff.
Yeah.
What are you boys' thoughts?
Well, it's kind of the good guy, bad guy story here, isn't it? With TJ getting done for EPO and Sandhagen.
Yeah, and for Class 5 everyone, this is EPO is top level of performance and handling drugs. Like you can't get much more top shelf than that.
It's like Frank Kaminsky fucking playing for the wrong team. Like that's what it is. What does it say? It's blood doping essentially, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's the stuff that Lance Armstrong did. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Erythropoietin. It's blood doping. It's blood doping, ladies and gentlemen.
So
he copped his 2 years.
Yep.
He's former champion as well, wasn't he, TJ Dillashaw?
Yep. Yeah, and it was the fight they went down to fight Cejudo and then got knocked out in the first round, like to try and be double champ, and then Cejudo took. Actually, no, Cejudo come up.
Yeah, he did.
No, he did. No, he went down because he tried to get down to 125. So he went down.
Cejudo's tiny.
Yeah, so he went down to Cejudo.
You're talking about Dillashaw went down.
Yeah, and the reason they did the EPO was kind of to help him maintain cut and also maintain his cardio while also losing an extra 10 pounds to get down to that kind of weight. But yeah, former champ comes in, gets Corey Sandhagen, who's absolutely been dominating the division at the moment. Is there waiting?
Frankie Edgar and Marlon Moraes.
Yes, yeah. So he's there waiting.
He's only lost one fight, hasn't he?
I think that was to Sterling.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
And Sterling, of course, Sterling and Jan have to run theirs back. So he's kind of waiting here. So to get TJ, that's a huge fight. That's a big name. They're headlining this fight night, ESPN fight night. So yeah.
He's actually had 2 losses, but one was 4 years ago against Jamal Emmers.
Not in the UFC, of course.
But yeah, not in the UFC. But you're right. His only loss in the UFC was to the current champ, Aljamain Sterling.
So I don't know.
It's pretty close. Have you got the odds?
He's big for the division, so he's much taller than TJ.
He's very tall. He's a cool dude as well.
Yeah, great striker.
Yeah.
I want to pick him over TJ just because TJ. I don't. It'll take him a very, very long time, if ever, to get over his, that tainted legacy.
Big stigma that goes. Well, as soon as you have 2 years banned, isn't it? That you're not going to have too many fans. You've got no fans.
So outside of, I suppose, his return fight, like how does he get this fight for against the number 2 ranked?
Well, it's
his
name and talent, like he's
and
still
former champ.
Like he
all
got
the way up to
banned
number 2
as a champ.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's not deserved? He should have to go back through and work his way up.
At least.
Who would you be happy? So Sandhagen had beaten Moraes and Frankie.
I'd probably go Moraes.
Somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah,
go
possibly.
Moraes.
Yeah, because
I can see where you're coming from. Because Dana's essentially gone, yeah, you've served your time now. Who gives a fuck? Let's get you straight back in there.
Yeah.
Let's
he needs top tier.
Let's make some money. Yeah.
Like number 5 Cody there, he's beaten Cody twice.
Yep.
And convincingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't run that back, and you don't really want to pick someone lower than that. You could.
So I don't think the game's evolved in the last 2 years.
It has, definitely.
Definitely.
But you still, TJ's former champ. He's a name.
Yeah, so it's a money fight.
There's a little bit crowd, and this is the biggest fight for Cody. For Corey. Corey. Sorry, I'm getting confused. For Sandhagen.
And you saw with Connor and Dustin, it's pretty obvious they do care about the belts, but they care about the bottom line more than the belts.
Yeah, the belts kind of help them attain that monetary gain. But like once you've got that monetary gain, Connor doesn't need belts, but he's going to make 20 mil.
The interim heavyweight champion of the world as well, which is bullshit. Really coming up with Derek Lewis and Cyril Gain.
Yeah.
Like Dana's. He doesn't keep his cards too close to his chest. He's pretty happy to show you the cards, and
I think they've just got a problem where all the champions at the moment have fought in the first half of the year, so they got to fill out pay-per-views, they've got to fill out fights going forward, so they got to create some intrigue. But for Sandhagen, if he beats TJ, that cements himself as the number 1 contender for whoever
has to get the loser of Jan Sterling.
Or
straight.
Yeah, well, like once they lose, he's next in line.
Yeah.
He's almost guaranteed next in line because he's beaten everyone else, and the others probably won't catch him in that time frame. So he has to get the champion at that point.
So to that, what's the implication of this fight if TJ wins? Sandhagen.
Same thing. Straight back in the conversation.
Straight back in. Do you think?
Yeah. Well, he's beat the number 2 guy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like. That's where should he fight Morenos first? It's not putting too much on the line to have like TJ straight back into the championship. Not that he's undeserving of it. Like if he beats out these fighters, then he deserves it.
I think this probably goes back to Peps's point. Like this fight headlines the fight night, whereas that other fight probably is the co.
Yeah.
Like it
That's
maybe
like
doesn't
a
do that.
fight night event sort of thing, right?
Yeah, well, this is but this is the main
yeah.
fight. But like it's not the one that people are tuning in for.
Yeah.
But people tuning in is one because it's TJ's return fight. But
Yeah.
and you want a good competition there. And Sandhagen's been killing it since he's been gone. So it makes sense from that in that regard. Like this will have viewership.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that does make
eyeballs
sense.
make money. And Dana, the UFC's deal with ESPN, they need eyeballs. So this will get eyeballs.
Yeah.
But I'm going to back Corey.
Yeah, I'm going to back the Sandman too.
Yep. Yeah, back him in. He is favourite at $1.47. TJ's out at $2.57.
What's the first round knockout?
Oh, that'd be a lot at that there.
Probably. Yeah.
In their weight division. If you go
Corey's
up,
been pretty good at it late.
So Corey via first round knockout is $8. Do you want either?
No, it was just more Corey. Because he did.
Yeah.
I think he did both. He did Frankie in first, and I think he did Moranis as well.
Should be able to tell you that in a sec. So Frankie first and Marlon second.
Early second. Actually, no, that's late second.
Is it? I don't know. I think that's time in. Because that's 5 minutes.
Sometimes they do it with time remaining as well.
I think it's time in. Anyways, a big fight announced. 2 big boppers. Curtis Blades is going to take on Jairzinho Rosenstrike at UFC 266.
Yeah, adding to that 266 card, so that card's getting built out of the moment and looking pretty stacked.
Fucking oath,
So
yeah.
this is a good one to add to that. This is probably the fourth fight, I think, from memory with the other, because you've got the Diaz-Lula fight and then you get the 2 title fights, which would be at the
which
top.
is Shevchenko and Lauren Murphy, and the big one, Volkanovski versus Ortega. That's the Ultimate Fighter coaches going at it.
Yes. So to add this to that, that's huge.
Pretty
And
big card coming together.
yeah, I think Rosenstrike's coming off. So he lost a gain recently. Yeah, because he definitely got knocked out by Ngannou, and so he's lost a gain in that time frame too. So, but he's he had a really great run, knocking blokes out. Blades, on the other hand, had a really good run with his wrestling, taking dudes down. But then he himself got absolutely put to sleep by, I think, Derek Lewis.
Yeah, I think you're right. Rosenstrike actually beat Augusto Saki on a fight night in June. But yeah, before that, had that loss to Gain. He actually beat Gino Dos Santos in between that loss to Ngannou and Cyril Gain. And then, I think you're right. I think Derek Lewis took care of Curtis Blades.
Second round knockout.
Yeah. Has Blades fought since then?
No, that was his last fight. That was February this year.
And was on a four fight streak before that.
Yeah, and you've got 2 and 3, I think, at the moment. So Gain and Lewis for the interim, and Stipe would be 1, I'm assuming. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's right.
DC unranked or still ranked? No DC.
No, because no activity. So
retired.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. I was just double checking. So yeah, this big fight, because Volkov, I think, is between the two of them. Again, winner of this probably gets loser of that other fight, and then you're working your way. You win that, then you're in the title contention. So they're heavyweight division. They're always there and thereabouts.
Do you know where Rosenstruck's from?
Here's a funny flag.
It's a random.
It's
Bring up the flag.
It's super random, and I haven't seen it. Test my memory. I don't remember.
Well, and I know for a fact you're not going to get the flag. It's obscure country. Yeah, there you go. You got it there.
Oh yeah.
So it's a green, white, red, yellow star.
No idea.
Suriname.
Suriname.
So Dutch speaking area of South America, up near Guyana there. So not too many. Well, I can't think of any fighters out of Suriname, let alone famous athletes. So there you go. Bit of fucking pub trivia there for you. Suriname.
That was probably the big major news coming out of the UFC at the moment. There's some interesting stuff around Conor McGregor, and he might be out a year. Got chronic arthritis in his ankle supposedly, and it's really well known. And they're surprised he kept going with this fight and went ahead with it. And we talked about how he takes injuries. So yeah, that sounds like he's probably going to need some work and so need some rest before he comes back in for a fight. But yeah, that's interesting. That sounds like a lot of people knew about going in that he had dodgy ankles.
Knew it.
But he did it anyway.
Just going back to some Suriname chat.
There's a shitload, is there?
All Dutch footballers.
There you go.
Yeah, so the likes of Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Dutch legend, Edgar Davids, Clarence Seedorf. So a lot of African Dutch footballers, African appearance, I should say, coming out of Suriname. So there you go, a bit of fucking pub MO for you. I'm sure that comes up regularly in Australian pub trivia. Speaking of obscure countries, the Olympics. Always get a few.
You going to skip the NFL? Or do you want to talk NFL?
Do the NFL. We'll finish with the Olympics. Do the NFL.
Right,
do the NFL.
So we'll do the NFL. The big news, if you've been following during the week, Cam Akers fucked a lot of fantasy teams, and as we do, people get stuck at him online for tearing his fucking Achilles. Yeah, come on, bro.
Losers.
Yeah, so did that while training away from the team. So
that don't know who Frank Kaminsky plays for.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Cam Akers will miss the season. Big loss for them. They do have Darren Henderson.
Daryl
Henderson.
Daryl.
There's their one, but it wouldn't surprise me if James Robinson or maybe Melvin Gordon get traded there.
Ooh.
Todd Gurley's on the market, but they've already ruled him out.
Mm-hmm.
But whether they stick with Henderson and go forward with him, that's a shout. But yeah, big loss for them.
Yeah,
for Cam Akers.
Achilles. Achilles are the new ACLs, aren't they?
And for running backs,
horrible injury and tend to be happening a little bit more frequently. So thoughts are with Cam and anyone.
Good luck in his recovery.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Any Rams fans or any Cam Akers fantasy owners, hopefully he can come back firing next year.
Yep. And to make you feel sad, Peppy, Adam Scheffner continues his posting of random Aaron Rodgers news to keep us all up to date. They came out during the week that he got an extra 2-year extension on his deal, which would have made him the highest paid quarterback in the league. So a 5-year deal in total.
Which would have him going to like Brady numbers.
Yeah, crazy. Well, exactly. He'd be
42,
43, I think, by the time he finished it. So he's just like, well, by the time I hit that money, I'm probably get retired anyway, possibly, unless he wants to do what Tom Brady's doing. But it's kind of pointed out that it's not a money problem. He's already said it's not the players, it's not the coaching staff. So you can put a big circle around your favourite mate, perhaps.
Gutterkunst.
Yes.
Or as I like to call him, Shitterkunst.
Yes.
That's a name. YouTube.
Yeah.
So long story short, Rodgers is unhappy. He's going to probably play out the season, but
who knows? 6 days of training camp for the Packers. They open on the 28th. Let's see if he's there.
You reckon they trade him in that time? I feel like it would have happened by now.
Well, there's still plenty of time left.
Yeah, that is true.
Realistically, they've got until the week 8 deadline, so they could wait ages. So he could sit, as we've been talking, he could sit out if he really wants to. If he doesn't show up to training camp, that's when the chat starts, he's holding out. You get to the end of training camp, you're in preseason, it's like, he might not show. Get the end of preseason season start, it's like, fuck, we've got to go with Jordan Love. Maybe we can get him some extra weapons. Let's trade Aaron Rodgers and get what we can for him for a 37, 38-year-old quarterback at that point.
Yeah. Packers have lost all their trade value with Rodgers. Leaving it this late,
they still have. He's the MVP. He's the MVP, so they'll have value. But
if he sits out, everyone knows that they will be desperate for something else.
Possibly, but then the Packers got to have the agreement that we're going to get rid of him, and then they're going to create the market for him, which I think they can, where they got teams competing against him.
There has to be a market for Aaron Rodgers.
100%.
Has to be.
Yeah,
even if it is late.
Yeah. There would, in a bidding war, you probably get value out of him, but if he sits out,
the Packers have no leverage.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely no leverage.
Which I'll probably say I don't think they got leverage now. It's all with Rodgers. It's whatever Rodgers wants to do.
Yeah.
And he's kind of he's already said, this off season is all about me. I'm trying to better myself, trying to what's best for me long term in my career. One, his fiance and his marriage and his life going forward. So. All power to him.
He's got the power. Yeah.
If he thinks Gunka Kunz is a fuckwit, then it's up to him.
Thinks he's a shitterkunst.
Yeah, it's up to him. he was like, well, yeah, I'm done with this squad.
He's got the power. Yeah. In size, in roaming the earth right now, in terms of cock size, it's Blue Whale, Peter V'landys, Aaron Rodgers.
yeah. I'll back you on that.
Fred Warner. Mm-hmm. This is huge money for an inside linebacker.
Yeah. Your favourite stats, PFF had him ranked the highest inside linebacker, I think, this year and possibly last as well. So
Bobby Wagner's probably entered the chat there.
Yeah, true. So, but this is
a great linebacker. Like no hate on Fred Warner.
Also huge for Bobby. Like, because I don't. He hasn't got a new deal or anything from Seahawks, and it sounds like he's not unwanted, but they're possibly going to move him on. But which would be
again, you'd want a bit for Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, but you.
5
years, 95 million, highest paid inside linebacker. That's massive for them. And
that's 19 mil a year, quick maths right here.
Yeah, got a young fella locked in that defense for a long time.
And for any sort of more casual NFL fans, it's a bit of a crying shame, really, because the work that you get through as a middle linebacker, inside linebacker, is phenomenal. They literally run around, make the most tackles. They often are the leaders of the defense. Mm-hmm. And often will earn far less money than, say, an edge rusher, a guy that goes after the quarterback. So good to see a middle linebacker getting paid well there. So good on you, Fred.
Yeah, especially after, say, Patrick Willis is the classic one who, was like retired young because he's like, I'm done. I don't want more concussions.
Yeah.
Yeah, to see one for the 49ers as well to get a new young guy to come in and then get him long term, like that's a big outcome for them. A huge outcome for Fred Warner.
How old is Fred Warner, Monks, if you wouldn't mind?
25.
Yeah, he'd be
if that
prime of his career. 24.
24, yeah.
And you'll get him for his entire prime, essentially. Sign him away like this. So
there you go. Month till preseason, boys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're getting very close.
Exciting.
56 days till September 9th.
Let's go.
Getting very, very close.
Yeah.
Tell you what's fucking close, the Olympics.
Oh, not even close. They're already started.
Well, they are. Danny, and we're watching Brazil and Germany at the moment. That's Dani Alves. That is former Barcelona left back. Did it all with Brazil. I think a World Cup winner.
I think he got a red just there as well. So
that's big if that's true. I think he's like 38. Big Dani Alves. He's
two yellows. There you go.
One of the
red.
Well, that's the German guy that has put the challenge on him. Yeah, Dani Alves is one of the overage players there for Brazil here in the football at the Olympics. So that they are underway. Yeah. We
as mentioned, the Australian soccer team won both men's and women's.
Yeah, boy.
The Australian softball team in the women's lost to Tokyo, who I think are Japan, who were in Tokyo, who are the defending champions from my understanding.
I imagine it's them and the USA kind of 2-horse race. Yeah. There's only 6 teams. There's only 6 teams, and they actually had to play again today, and they beat Italy. Ooh, so they're 1-1, and I could probably bring it up here. Softball at the Olympics. I'm sure that's in a lot of people's Google searches, but we might be, statistically, we're a chance of a medal because there's only 6 teams, and let's say bloody USA and Japan are 1 and 2. Yeah. Maybe we're a
sneaky for a bronze.
Yeah, but they got fucking pumped. Like, let's be honest, it was 8-0, I think, or 8-1.
Well, Mexico went 3-2 there against Japan. So.
Oh, so we're in trouble. Is that
I don't know. My women's softball knowledge is not real great.
It's better than me knowing which team Frank Kaminsky plays for. I'm having a real trouble letting that go. Because I've really done myself a disservice and the listeners a disservice.
Well, you'll know that for all time now. So if that ever comes up in a pub quiz to win significant money, you'll have that one down pat.
Frank Kaminsky. Yeah, so today's play, the USA beat Canada. Japan got through Mexico 3-2. Thank you very much. Who's the other?
That's what I said. Yeah, Japan beat Mexico 3-2. So saying Mexico is
Italy.
competitive.
So maybe it's a real stretch here for us winning a medal there.
Well, we'll see. Yeah.
Anyways, who would have thought softball at the Olympics got 90 seconds of air time? I tell you what should get 90 seconds. The Matildas, they beat New Zealand 2-1. All reports say it could have been a lot more. Sam Kerr, the Tildas captain, she scored with a header and set up the first goal. It's a vital win against the Kiwi girls there because they are in a group of death with Sweden and the USA, multiple World Cup winning USA, and they copped their first L in 44 games to the Swedes, who won that 3-0. So
is it 2 get out of the group?
So it's one of those weird ones. So we've got 16 teams in the men's and 12 teams in the women's. So you need to get 8 out of 12. So top two, like the Euros, if you will.
Top 2 and the third.
Top 2 and then the best thirds.
Yes,
go through, which is good. So a win.
We should get out.
We should get out really with
New Zealand are the ones looking
poor.
unlikely.
New Zealand, they struggle to get out there.
Well,
you'd
hey,
imagine
if they beat USA, then USA might miss out.
Oh, that'd be nice. How good would that be?
That'd be huge.
I don't know if that Megan Rapinoe's playing. She's a huge star for the US girls there. But yeah, they got pumped by the Swedes. How about that? Swedes 3 more goals than their worst fans in the stands. That's unreal. put that in the bottom drawer.
You can say that about every game. Anyway, so the Olympics, the official ceremony kicks off tomorrow.
This time tomorrow night.
Exactly. Yeah. For us, they're only an hour behind us, I believe. Yeah. So pretty close time frames. I saw some stuff about all the big Japanese superstars, like singing stars. They're going to do a massive show. Probably be a bit of Nintendo thrown in there as well for all the. I don't want to say memes, but for the laughs, like some cheap laughs, but it should be good. Be interesting to see how the rest of the Olympics goes. Of course, COVID is all running rampant through the village and coaching staff and athletes.
I wouldn't say rampant just yet.
Oh, it's getting bad from reports. Like it's spreading quicker than they probably would have hoped with a bubble for athletes.
Yeah, true.
See what happens.
I don't know. There's no protection from COVID.
If you missed the chat on Monday night, there's 150,000 condoms been handed out? 160,000 condoms.
Which is 300 less than there was at Rio.
Yeah. Olympics equals fuckfest.
Apparently.
Yeah, I heard Usain Bolt had a train on volleyball players. So.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Holy dooly.
Can't say that.
He's a Bolt for a reason.
You can't. Righto, well, if you're still here, thanks and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, if you like this shit, please like and subscribe.
If you think I'm a fucking idiot for going full Charles Barkley and forgetting who Frank the Tank plays for, please get at me. We might have to redo the first few minutes. We might lose a few listeners.
I think that's hilarious because they'll all be sitting there going, "What the fuck is this guy on about?"
Yeah, and
if you sit through 2 hours, you will get the payoff for that. There you go.
And most of the last hour too. Yeah, I'm a cockhead.
It's all content.
Yeah,
it's all content.
I guess. Thank you very much for anyone that does listen to the whole ep. We do appreciate it. Tell your friends, tell your mum, tell your dad. Tell Frank Kaminsky. Cheers. See you next episode.
Hey, everyone.
See you.
Bye.
Gotcha.
Bye.